talakayin, revisahin, opinyon, palawaki, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa, dito lang sa Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Ikaw ba'y nag-iisa? Nalulungkot dahil iniwan at ipinagpalit, niloko ng iyong minamahal. Kung ngayon, i-type sa inyong mga cellphone, Facebook o YouTube man ang Millennial Online TV. Dahil nasa Millennial Online TV na ang online haralista ng bagong milenyo, si Randel Villados.
Naninigas ang aking katawan kapag umikot ng plaka.
At haharanahin kayo ni Randel ng iba't ibang awitin para maibsan ang inyong inip at kalungkutan kahit nasaan man kayo.
Hanggang sa tumanda. Come on! Kung tayo'y matanda na, sana'y di tayo magbago.
At pwede rin kayong makiduet kay Randel tuwing Sabado ng hapon. Tutok na! Tawag na, mga milenyo!
Araw-araw ikaw ang gusto kong kasama. Buhay ko'y kumpleto na tuwing nandito ka sa tabi ko o aking giliw.
Hanap mo ba ay Unwind Ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo sa Unwind Ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
Abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho? Pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay? Narito na ang sagot, mga katropa, ang Super Manok Lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-anirize ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam mo pa at siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm, kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay niyo, mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na, baka maabusan ka, katropa. Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalang lokal, kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sigalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dama Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
natapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, huwag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawain bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J, at tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam natin sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga millennials! Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita.
Mga katropa, ako po si Randel Villados, ang online naranista ng bagong milenyo ng Millennial Online TV na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makikanta, makisaya at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Ako inyong lingkod, Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa, ang inyong kabarangay dito sa Millennial Online TV. Abangan ang ating mga kaganapan dito sa ating bansa at abangan din ang panunungkol ni Kapitan sa ating Dalaw Barangay. Paano nyo kami mapapanood? I-type lamang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong Facebook at YouTube, ang Millennial Online TV. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Like, subscribe, at share na. Okay mga katropa?
Mga katropa, ako po si Gazi Sarip, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng balita sa bagong milenyo na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na tunghayan ang aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa dito sa Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho, pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay? Narito na ang sagot mga katropa, ang Super Manok Lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-anirize ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam mo pa at siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm, kaya super na sa lasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na, baka maabusan ka, katropa. Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, huwag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawain bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, Samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam natin sa ating mga hapagkainan at sok pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga millennials!
Now, we are
Talakayin, revisahin, opinyon, palawakin, aksyonan,
na we can do
kasama
checks as much
si Rosel Lopez,
sa mga establishment.
ang inyong katropa, dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Ayon, magandang hapon! Magandang hapon, Pilipinas! Abay, ngayon po ay araw ng Lunes, no? At ikapito na ng buwan ng Pebrero, taong 2022. Aba, 7 days more to go. Abay, Valentine's Day na. Kayo ba'y meron ng kabalentina at kabalentino? Abay, kung wala pa, abay, mag-search na kayo. Dahil baka mamaya, mahuli kayo sa biyahe. Si Joshua, wala nang problema to dahil meron na itong date, itong darating na Valentine's. Well, anyway mga kaibigan, ngayon po ay araw ng Lunes, muli ikapito po ng buwan ng Pebrero taong 2022. At syempre sa inyo na ang programang Tropa. At syempre naku, ganun din po, ako pa rin ang inyong kasama. Pagtsagaan nyo na, kami magiging kasama nyo lang. Pero sa Webes, meron po tayong online haranista. At syempre po, Sabado muli ay yung ating Dalaw Barangay. At abangan nyo, at this coming February to, sunod-sunod na. At meron pa isang magpo-programa dito po sa Millennial Online TV. Dahil po ang dating niya rito ay sa February 20 pa. No? Siya po ay fresh and direct from Iligan City. Kaya abangan nyo po yung kanyang pag-arangkada, no? Dito po sa Millennial Online TV. At least nasa bagong studio na ang Millennial. Abay, kahit paano hayahay ng konti. Bueno mga kaibigan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. At syempre po, bago tayo magsimula, abay, batiin muna natin yung ating mga tropa peeps, yung ating mga Dabber Cats, no? Na tumututok lagi, no? Sa Millennial Online TV. Abay, una ko nakita sa ating monitor to si Marlon Tabilos, no? Magandang hapon sa iyo, Marlon. Yun, sabi niya, tapos na hindi pa, magsisimula pa lang. Actually nga, dapat kanina pa kami ni Joshua, kaso may pinuntahan kaming isang press con o forum doon po sa lalawigan ng Rizal. Bukas po, matutunghayan nyo yun, yung pong aming kinover ng grupo namin ng Pamamarisan Rizal Press Corps. Ayun, kararating nga lang namin ni Joshua dahil medyo traffic pa. Buti na lang, meron kaming bitek. Okay, magandang hapon din kay Bambo Garcia po ng grupong puwersa ng Tugatog Malabon dyan sa Bronce Malabon. At ganyan din kay Ma'am Evelyn Lim at Suwo. Ayan, sabi niya si Rosel. At sa lahat po ng followers ng Millennial Online TV, hello daw, sabi ni Ma'am Evelyn Lim. Teka, walang Matsuo, Ma'am Evelyn. Nasanay na ako sa Ma'am Evelyn Lim Matsuo. Sigurado yan si Ma'am Evelyn ngayon, nakaupo, nanonood sa malaking screen, at malamang baka nagmimerienda, ha? Kita mo, ha? Hindi, baka lang, di man ako sigurado, ha? At ako, nanonood yung ating katropa, ha? Yung ating isang sikat at big time na broadcaster, si June Tirada Perer. Palakpakan mo, Joshua. Yan po ang ating katropa, si Jun Tirada Perer ng Tirada TV, Tirada Online TV, tama ba? At gayon din si Miss Rona Bulalaki Ramos, magandang buhay daw. Muli sabi si Rosel Lopez, sabay magandang buhay talaga dapat. Kailangan po tayo laging maganda ang buhay, hindi po pwedeng walang wentang buhay. At gayon din si Bamboo Garcia, mapagpalang araw tol sa program mo, good job. Abay magandang araw din sa iyo, Boss Demi, at good luck at more customers to come dyan sa iyong Mami at Tapsi, Pares dyan sa may Tugatog, Malabon, along MH Del Pilar po. Kung kayo magugutom, daan lang kayo, makikita nyo yun, merong isang stall po ron. Murang-mura lang po yun, affordable, pangmasa ang presyo, pero masarap naman. Ayun, si Ma'am Evelyn, sabi niya, ayun, nag-ulit-uli. Hello po, Sir Rosel, at sa lahat po ng followers ng Millennial Online TV. Ayan, hello daw sa inyo, sabi ni Ma'am Evelyn. At mamaya mga kaibigan, ay itutungay natin sa inyo, nako, ito palang Quezon City Government, no? Si Mayor Joy Belmonte, ay merong sablay na ginawa sa QC. At meron na nga akong nagreklamo sa kanya sa, hindi kong nagkakamali, baka sa Office of the Ombudsman, ay pinailan siya ng kaso, no? Bakit? Tungkol po saan? Doon daw po sa mga anomalya sa ayuda. Siyempre, di ba, nag-lockdown tayo. Aba, meron po isang lumutang na complainant at umiiyak pa nga siya. Hindi niya raw alam kung ano mangyayari sa kanya. Basta yun ang alam niyang tamang gawin, ginawa niya. Mamaya po yan, panoorin natin dito po sa Millennial Online TV. At bukod po dyan, at meron po tayong segment mamaya, yung pong Kitang Milenyo. Siyempre yung mga millennials natin dyan na kahit na pandemic, abay siyempre tuloy-tuloy lang ang buhay, no? Siyempre, hindi naman kung may maganda kang negosyo, malaking negosyo, magsusuka ka o magbibito ka ng malaking pera. Hindi po. Meron po tayong mga business o mga negosyo na ika nga laway, tiwala at terms lang ang kailangan. Hindi mo kinakailangan magbigay ng cash. Siguro, sa umpisa, pag hindi ka kilala, magbibitaw ka muna ng cash, natural. Dahil hindi ka kilala nung kliyente. Pero pag kilala ka na at okay na kayo, pwedeng bigyan ka na ng terms. Ganun po, kaya nga ang forma, sa umpisa lang, tsaga-tsaga lang. Ayun, sabi ni Bamboo Garcia, maraming salamat doon sa pag-shoutout sa mami namin. Sulit po ang bayad. Sulit daw ang bayad nyo pag kumain kay Ron. Buti pa sila nakakakain. Ako, hindi ako makatikim niyang mamit Paris mo. Kasi pinupwesto mo tuwing hapon. Alam mo, tuwing hapon meron akong programa. Paano pa akong titikim niyan? May program ako, Boss Demi. Well, anyway, marami pa namang araw. Baka matsyempo, di ba, Boss Demi? Alam mo, yung mamihan na nasa kalsada, tatayo ka lang doon pag kumain, Miss Jackie Adahar. Itong ating katropang MLT, mahilig dito sa mga kwek-kwek, yung tintuhog-tuhog meron daw palang mamihan, punta raw kami. Ikaw, kung kumakain ka ng nasa kalsada at nakatayo, di lapagan natin minsan. Wala namang problema doon, di ba, Boss Demi? Siguro may upuan naman si Boss Demi doon na yung bilog na octagon na upuan na plastic. Pwede ka pa rin umupo. Nga lang, di ko alam kung aabot ka, Miss Jackie, sa pinakaibabaw nung pero siguro aabot siguro. Okay, nako mga kaibigan, alas 4:45 na po ng hapon, Philippine Standard Time. At siyempre, ito pa rin inyong kasama, kakwentuhan, ka-jamming, kakosa, ka-Dabber Cats, dito po sa programang Tropa, Rosel Lopez. At siyempre po kasama ko pa rin at walang kahumpay-humpay, walang kapuknat-puknat, ang aking sidekick si Joshua Sumulat Baltaw. Ay, alam ko namang di ka maarte. Alam ko namang Miss Jackie, Jack of all trade ka, master of none. Ayun, at nanonood sa atin yung ating reporter, na wala pang report, niluluto lang siyang report at palagay ko maganda yung nilulutong report na to kasi hindi pa tapos. Si Jaime Santos Pahayag ng San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. Jaime, isend mo na yung link yun kay Manny Perez para ma-watch nila maya-maya yung ating sinute doon sa kanyang pwesto. Di ba? Para mapanood niya. Ha? Maganda yung, kasi po may in-interview tayo, meron tayong pinicture na isang business establishment dyan po sa may Bagong Silang, Caloocan. Actually, dalawa po yun. Isang paint center at isa pong chocolates, apparels, and chips. Ay, ang ganda po nung sa may chocolates, apparel, and chips kasi ang nagmamanage po, ang manager, yung kanyang anak mismo na panganay. Abay, batang-bata, manager na. Ganun po, pagka mayroong pangarap at mahilig sa magandang buhay, dapat ganun ang gawin talaga. At yun ang mga painter's choice, doon po sa Bagong Silang Paint Center, ay yung pong mag-asawa ang nagmamanage, no? Si Mr. and Mrs. Manny at Melody Perez. Mamaya po yan, abangan natin. At syempre, yung pong itutungay natin sa inyo, yung mamaya yung Pandesal Forum na ginawa kamakailan, na kung saan po ay naging panel doon, panelist o bisita. Ito po si Ilocos Norte Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc. Aba, ito po ay anak po ni Senador Amy Marcos. Ayan po. At ang naging moderator po dito si Mr. Wilson Lee Flores ng Kamuning Bakery dyan po sa may Kamuning. No? At ang pinag-usapan po doon ay yung tungkol sa Ilocos Norte, no? Yung pong economic recovery, tourism and investment potential matapos ang pandemic. Kaya ang alam ko, recover na kasi meron silang parang binuksan na parang beaches yata, o beach, hindi ko alam. Basta may nakita ho ako, no? Actually, ang nagmamanage yata no, ng mismong may-ari, hindi ko alam kung may-ari, kung manager, yung mga beaches doon sa Ilocos Norte ang nagmamanage, ang pinaka-boss ng Beaches Association yata, kung di ako nagkakamali, ay anak po ni Kap Milalakap na tumatakbo pong mayor ng bayan ng Hagunoy. Hindi ko lang maano yung pangalan pero alam ko, nakita ko na kasi yun. Okay, at magandang hapon din kay Kaagila Magas Gakusana ng Iligan City. Siya po yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na magpo-programa po dito sa atin sa Millennial Online TV. At syempre, binabati ko rin yung ating mga katropa na mga grupo ng Pamamarisan Rizal Press Corps na kanina po ay magkakasama kami. Nandun po kami sa lalawigan ng Rizal. Abay, magandang hapon kay Boss Nats Alporte, Marites Pumaras, kay Nolan Ariola, kay Prexi Neil Alcober, kay Felix Tambungko. At syempre, sino pa ba? Ayun, kami magkakasama kanina ron. At ayun, sabi ni Jaime Santos Pahayag, nasend ko na yung link tol kay Boss Manny. Abang, oo nga, boss na nga pala si Manny, Boss Manny. At magandang hapon din kay Ma'am Paula Pinera po ng grupong The Solo Parents Philippines Incorporated. Aba, yan po kaya ganun ang incorporated dahil nakarehistro na po sa Security Exchange Commission. May dapat lang, kapag isang grupo, asosasyon, dapat to nire-rehistro yan, no? Kapag maramihan, grupo, abay siyempre Security Exchange Commission. Pero kapag single proprietor, isa ka lang or whatsoever, pwede na sa DTI. Importante lang meron kang permit, may DTI permit ka. Okay, so maganda nga po, alas 4:49 na mga kaibigan. Ako, mamaya alamin natin kung gaano ba ka-apekto, tinamaan ng pandemic ang buong lalawigan ng Ilocos Norte. Bumagsak bang mga negosyo? Yung kanilang tourism, ano ba nangyari? Recover na ba ngayon? Mamaya malalaman natin. Pero bago yan, siyempre mamaya unahin muna natin yung pong nagreklamo, no? Kay Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte. Abay, kita nyo nga, sabi na nga ba, hindi nagkakamali ang iba nating mga kababayan na dyan sa ayudahan na yan, meron ding anomalya. Hindi talaga mawawala sa gobyerno, ano? Bakit hindi mawala ang mga anomalya, yung mga pakotong-kotong, yung mga papitik-pitik, yung mga pakurot-kurot doon sa pondo na para ay dapat sa tao, abay kinukurutan pa. Alam naman nilang may pandemic. Yun ang hindi natin maintindihan dyan sa ating mga tropa peeps. Bakit? Bakit kayo ganyan? Naku po, bakit kayo ganyan? Yun ang sinasabi natin, di ba? Yun ang sinasabi natin. Well, anyway, kayong nanunungkulan, kayo nakaupo, kayo magdadala niyan, konsensya niyo yan kung kayo'y kukotong doon sa pondo na para sa mga constituent nyo. Nasa sa inyo yan, kayo magdadala. Dahil konsensya nyo yun. Maaatim nyo yun, yung pakakain nyo sa pamilya nyo, yung pera nyong inilalabas galing sa kurakot. Aba, mag-isip-isip po kayo. Baka mamaya yan ay ika nga may tinatawag na karma in return. Baka mamaya yung kinutong at kinurakot nyo ay kulang pa, no, sa inyong magiging karma. Kaya yung mga politiko natin, mapa-local, mapa-national, abay mag-isip-isip na po tayo. O mag-isip-isip kayo. Ha? Siguro ko okay lang, sabi nga nila, may kasabihan, iba yung laughing money, iba rin yung crying money. Mahirap po yung crying money, yun ang sinasabi ko. Pag crying money, ibig sabihin mabigat sa loob. Diba? Halimbawa ako, sa akin, mabigat sa loob ko na yung pera, bitawan ko sa inyo. Diba? Yun ang crying money. Pero yung pagka-laughing money, abay, umaapaw ako sa tuwa. No? Nakatawa ako habang ibinibigay ko sa inyo. Ba, sabi ron ni Miss Jackie, suklay-suklay buhok mo, boss, ha, para dinilaan ng baka. Ang maganda nga yung planchado, Talaga pinahimuran ko yan sa baka kasi may pinuntahan nga kami, meron doon baka akong nakita, hinintuan muna namin ni Joshua. Para naman kahit paano ka ako, medyo ma-plancha-plancha yung buhok ko. Okay, nako mga kaibigan, alas 4:50 na po ng hapon, Philippine Standard Drive, muna natin patagalin, panoorin natin yung empleyado mismo ng Quezon City Government na nagreklamo mismo kay Mayor Joy Belmonte. Mga kaibigan, tunghayan natin.
Hindi kami makapagsalita. Sa ngayon, hindi ko alam kung ano magiging kinabukasan ko. Kung ano magiging kinabukasan namin. Ng anak ko, ng trabaho ko. Basta ang alam ko lang ito ang tama kong gawin.
Ganito pa nangyari, sir. Meron po akong nabasa na isang purchase order.
Hindi kami makapagsalita. Sa ngayon, hindi ko alam kung ano magiging kinabukasan ko. Kung ano magiging kinabukasan namin. Ng anak ko, ng trabaho ko. Basta ang alam ko lang ito ang tama kong gawin.
Ganito pa nangyari, sir. Meron po akong nabasa na isang purchase order. Ang nakasulat po doon ay nakabultong presyo na worth 809. Ang kuha nila sa 809 pesos po yun. Pero kung tutusin, sir, kung kukunin po natin yung actual price sa DTI, nagkakahalaga lamang po ito ng 442. Kung kukwentahin po natin, sir, 400 piso sa bawat unit. Kung yung 400 pisong yun, sir, idinagdag mo na lang sana dun sa actual na ayuda na sinasabi mong ipinamamahagi mo sa tao. Hindi ba mas malaking tulong sana yun?
Hindi ka...
So yun mga kaibigan, ay ayun, kayo na magbigay ng inyong opinion, Kayo na bahala. Ano masasabi nyo? Misa may mga ganyan na hindi naman pala totoo. Yung pala pakawala ng kalaban, kaya ganon. Pero hindi naman ito empleyado ng mismong munisipyo ng Quezon City. Hindi naman ito magsasalita, no? Tataya niya ba yung kanyang pagiging empleyado? Kung halimbawang may nag-uutos lang sa kanya o wala, kayo po, kung ano inyong opinion, pwede nyo pong i-type dito sa ating sa chat box dito ng Millennial Online TV. Ayan, meron sa mga pinakita pang dokumento, no? Magkano yung presyo, magkano yung original price, at magkano ang presyo ng pamahalaan lungsod ng QC. Well, tignan natin kung ano mangyayari, magpa-prosper kasi nagsampaho ng kaso yung lalaki, yung empleyado mismo, no? Tignan natin kung ano, at kung meron siyang hawak na dokumento, may present niya. So, ewan natin. No? Basta kayo, opinion nyo. Yan ang sinasabi natin. Sa mga LGU, mga barangay, alam nyo, sa totoo lang, hindi mo maiiwasan talaga na merong kurakot. No? For example, ako mayor. Hindi ako nakikialam ko, no? Ito project. Merong gumagawa ng project, pero yung taong gumagawa yung contractor nun, akin, hawak ko rin. Yung kunwari, yun ang nangongontrata ng mga proyekto sa lungsod, pero ang totoo nun, tao ko rin yun. Ganon ang nangyayari, di ba? Siya nangongontrata ko, no? Pero ang totoo nun, meron kaming usapan doon. Hindi ko alam na ibang tao. Marami ho niyan. Kahit saan pong local government, meron ho yan. Hindi ho mawawala yan kahit sa barangay. Kahit sa mga barangay pa man yan. Meron po dyan mga proyekto na kuno, ito, etc. Kwek. Pero ang totoo ho nun, meron yung under the table. Dahil ang forma, siyempre, ako yung contractor, o ikaw yung kapitan. Siyempre, gusto ko sa akin magbigay ang project. Meron akong SOP sa'yo. Ayun, si Lito Velasco. May nanonood sa atin. Magandang hapon sa'yo, Lito Velasco. Saan ka man ng lugar, magandang hapon. Yun ang sinasabi natin mga kaibigan, no, sa mga LGU. Kahit sabihin ng LGU na wala siyang kotong, etc. Ewan ko, bibihira siguro. Pero karamihan po ay talaga namang mapangotong. Kaya sabi sa atin ng ating katropa na LM3, no, si Sir Haji Crespo, dapat mabago na ang kalakaran. Alam mo, Sir Haji, noon pa yan after Marcos, di ba sabi nga nila si Marcos kurakot. Sabi naman ng iba, nangurakot nga. Pero, yung kinukurakot ni Marcos noon, ipinamamahagi rin niya sa tao. Hindi niya binubulsa ng solo. No? Marami siyang mga pinagawa, marami siyang mga proyekto na yun, doon napupunta yung sinasabi nilang kurakot. Masasabi rin hindi rin ho kurakot yun. Pero after ho noon, ano na nangyari? Petron Philippines na benta. Yung Centennial noon, yung BGC, binenta. Ngayon, yung sa may bandang Rojas Boulevard, yung mga dagat doon, nabenta na rin. Ang alam ko sa mga Ayala. Isipin nyo, di ba, na dati katulad ng Manila Water, yung MWSS, sa gobyerno yan, napunta sa private, binenta. Ang Meralco noon sa gobyerno, yung kuryente, binenta rin. Ngayon, private na. Ngayon, ang laki ngayon ng mga konsumo sa kuryente, umiiyak lahat. Yun lang sinasabi natin, pinagbebenta lahat noon ng mga sumunod na administrasyon. Kung sino man ang mga nakaupo that time, ayan, na ibenta yung mga pag-aari ng Pilipinas na ewan ko bakit at saan napunta at bakit hindi makasuhan. Noon nga, putok na putok Si Tabaco, di ba? Siya ang nagbenta niyang BGC, di ba? Yan ay sa gobyerno, binenta. Ang alam ko, binenta yan sa Ayala. Di ba? Nakasuhan ba? Matalino yung matandang yun si Fidel Ramos. Kita po naman, tengang-tenga pa lang. Mas malaki pa sa tenga ng daga. Ganun daw kapag malaki tenga, masyadong magulang, mahusay, mautak, sweetik, yun daw ang kasabihan. Sabi lang nila yun, pero siyempre, sila mga nasa gobyerno, sila nakakaalam kung totoong si binenta nga ni Fidel Ramos yan. Yung mga lugar na yan. Actually, may nakausap kami, dati yung headquarters ng Philippine Marines doon sa Bikutan, doon sa may Taguig. Yung headquarters nila doon, yun nga, sila daw po ililipat na ng Bataan at doon na sila mag-headquarters kasi yung lugar na kanilang headquarters ngayon nga yung binenta raw po ni Fidel Ramos pa noon. So, binigyan lang sila ng Bataan para makalipat. Siyempre, kaya sila lilipat, ginagawa pa yung kanilang kampo, kaya hindi pa sila makalipat. Pero sabi sa amin, nakausap namin mga opisyal ng Marines noon, lilipat na rin daw sila. Merong nasaktan, merong umaray. Sorry po, pasensya na, tao lang. Yun naman nandong kasabihan Sinabi naman yun hindi naman aking galing yun Sabi yun noong paman na si Fidel Ramos, siya nagbenta niyang BGC na yan. Ayun nga yung Centennial noon sinasabi. Ewan ko, yung dagat sa may Rojas Boulevard, kung sino naman ang nagbenta. Dami palang ibenta, yung palang Manila Bay, pwede rin ibenta no, Joshua? No? So, pagkano, magtanong mo nga kung binibenta yung Manila Bay at tayo bibili. Baka matawaran natin. Gagawin nating biggest resort in the Philippines. Yun, yung Manila Bay, yung Dolomite Sand. Isipin mo, pwede palang ibenta di ba? Ang daming investor dyan, ang daming mga may pera. Kahit nga dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, may mga investor na mga mayayaman, marami, pwedeng bilhin yan, yung Manila Bay. Yung pala, pwede naman pala ibenta ang pag-aari ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas ba't di pa gawin? Okay, nako, 5:01 na ng hapon mga kaibigan. Ano ba yan? Basta yun lang ang mga naging pumutok na balita noon. Pero yun nga, yun ang hindi nagkatawan tao, hindi ho pinatunayan, hindi ho dineliberate sa Senate, sa Congress, yung sinasabing si Ramos daw ho nagbenta. Hanggang ngayon, ang si Ramos, kita mo, dumadalo-dalo pa ng mga kung ano-anong piging. At siya nagbibigay pa ng mensahe minsan. Di ba? Ganun lang naman yan. Ako, alam mo, Miss Rona, wala akong magagawa. Pasensya ka na pasintabi. Nagkataong kaapelido mo, si Fidel Ramos. Baka naman kamag-anak mo si Fidel Ramos. Pagka kamag-anak mo, lumapit-lapit ka na sa kanya. Humingi ka ng balato. Hindi ako naman. Joke lang. Okay, so nako mga kaibigan, magpapakilala lang po si Joshua Baltao at mamaya para malaman nyo kung saan kayo himpilang nanonood at nakikinig at sa aming pagbabalik, no? Itutungay na, wala na ba tayo ba itutungay, Joshua? Tapos na yun sa Quezon City, no? Meron pa ba? Wala na. Hindi. Itutunghay muna pala natin yung segment natin ng Kitang Milenyo. Mamaya po yan sa aming pagbabalik.
Kung may dinaramdam o gulong-gulo ang isip mo, tumutok lamang at panoorin dito sa Millennial Online TV. May tuturo po ko sa inyong isang paraan upang maibsan at mabawasan niyang problemado ninyong pag-iisip. Ito ay ang Tai Chi Learning Series. Sana po tumutok po kayo at abangan niyo po kung Sabado po ng umaga yan. Dito lamang po sa Millennial Online TV. Salamat po! Ikaw ba stress? O may dinaramdam?
Ikaw ba'y nag-iisa? Nalulungkot? Dahil iniwan at ipinagpalit? Niloko ng iyong minamahal? Kung ngayon, i-type sa inyong mga cellphone, Facebook o YouTube man ang Millennial Online TV. Dahil nasa Millennial Online TV na ang online haralista ng bagong milenyo, si Randel Villados.
Naninigas ang aking katawan kapag umikot ng plaka.
At haharanahin kayo ni Randel ng iba't ibang awitin para maibsan ang inyong inip at kalungkutan kahit nasaan man kayo.
Hanggang sa tumanda. Come on! Kung tayo'y matanda na, sana'y di tayo magbago.
At pwede rin kayong makiduet kay Randel tuwing Sabado ng hapon. Tutok na! Tawag na mga milenyo!
Araw-araw ikaw ang gusto kong kasama. Buhay ko'y kumpleto na tuwing nandito ka sa tabi ko o aking giliw.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, huwag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawaing bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam natin sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga millennials!
Now,
talakayin, rebisahin, opinyon, palawakin, aksyonan,
na we can do
kasama
checks as much
si
as
Rosel
possible
Lopez,
sa mga establishment.
ang inyong katropa, dito lang sa Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Okay mga kaibigan, muli nagbabalik po tayo sa ating programang Tropa. Alas 5:06 po ng hapon, Philippine Standard Time. Abay, bago tayo magpatuloy muli, abay, pa-shoutout daw. Sabi sa atin ni Mitzi. Ayan po. Ito po si Mitzi ay tropa po ng ating Tropa Pips na si Robert Esteban po na Sandigan Bayan. Ayan, si Mitzi. Siya po ay encoder po, dyan po sa may malapit sa LTO, no? Si Mitzi, ano po yan, encoder. Ayan, magandang hapon sa iyo, Mitzi, yan. Uy, si Enad, nanonood sa atin, si Enad Isidro po, dyan po sa may Francis sa Malabon. Ito po ay manager po, doon po sa may harap ng Max, no? Harap ng Max sa Francis, ito po manager do si Enad Isidro. Okay, magandang hapon sa iyo, Enad. Kumusta yung mga bukuhan natin dyan? At mabenta ba? Marami bang bumibili? At syempre yung ating mga kahayupan dyan, yung katabi mong hayop, kamusta? Ha? Si Jomel, si Boss Jomel. Kamusta ba yung hayop na yon? Ay, ganun ba? Hindi, sabihin kasi, nagbebenta ng hayop yan, si Jomel. Marami may ibon, may pusa, may aso, mayroong lahat. Lahat ng exotic na hayop na andun, may tinda yan. Gusto nyo tigre, magsabi kayo sa kanya kung gusto nyo bumili tigre. Kung gusto nyo ng hippopotamus, sabihin nyo. Iyahanap po kayo ni Boss Jomel. Basta magsabi lang ho kayo ng maaga, no? Ayun, si Ate Luningning pahayag po ng Barangay Bayan-Bayanan sa Malabon. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Ate Luningning. Ayan, si Ate Ning pahayag. Ayun, yung nandiyan sa Francis, si Boss Enad, si Jomel, ayan, magandang hapon siya, tsaka si JR, yung ating mayor doon pagdating sa mga saging, pinya, papaya. Ayan, good PM din sa iyo, Ate Ningning. Ay, mga taga-Francis dyan, si Boss Jomel, si Enad Isidro, si JR, kumpleto May sagingan, may bukuhan, may hayupan. Isang ka pa, di ba, kumpleto? At mamaya namang medyo pag dumilim na, may ihaw-ihaw na. Nandiyan na yung pwesto ni Boss Osang at Boss Makmak. Na talaga naman dinudumog po ng mga bawat mapapadaan doon sa kanilang ihaw-ihaw, matik. At naku, magandang hapon doon sa aking titang maganda, no? Na pinakamaganda sa mga Santiago, si Tita Meldy Santiago Angeles, na ngayon ay nandiyan na po sa may Mabalacat, Pampanga, may Kenny Saguli. Kaya pala ang Tita Meldy ko'y malago, dahil pala siya yung Mabalacat, Pampanga. No ka rin sa Mabalacat, Tita Meldy. Kaya po ang aking Tita Meldy na napakaganda. Si Tita Meldy Santiago Angeles. Wala namang pangit sa angka namin Kung meron mang pangit sa angka namin, yun po ipinatapon na ng aking lola at lolo at lolo ng lolo ko doon sa Babuyan Island. Joke lang ho. Lahat naman tayo ng tao puro magaganda at magugwapo dahil tayo anak ng Diyos lahat, di ba? Kaya wala hong pangit sa nilalang ng Diyos. Ang pangit lang ho kapag ang lumalang ay demonyo. Pero pag lalang ho ng Diyos, magaganda, mga gwapo, mga cute, mababait. Yun. Tama ba yun, Joshua, yung sinasabi ko? Joshua lang, tumatawa lang Ayos sabihin ko, si Enad, ang gwapo nito. Joshua, kung nakita mo na si Enad sa Francis, gandang lalaki. Kaya, simpatiko dating ni Enad Isidro. Kaya maraming nagkakagusto. Isipin mo, bibili lang ng buko. Yung bibili ng buko, gusto, pati yung nagtataga ng buko, bayaran din. Ay, hindi po pwede. Huwag kang papayag ng ganun, Enad. Sabihin mo, ma'am, buko lang ho binebenta ko. Hindi ho kasama yung taga-taga. O, di ba? Pagka ganun ng ganun, Enad, baka mataga ka. Napandami sinabi ko, Enad. Si Boss Jomel, sabihin mo sa kanya kung ang binebenta niya dyan, yung mga hayop niyan, huwag niya na ibebenta yung hayop niya. Pagka yung kamo, binenta niya yung hayop niya, delikado siya sa commander niya. Tsaka mamalasin yung negosyo niya. Okay, so mga kaibigan, huwag na nating patagalin at itunghay po natin yung ating segment, Takitang Milenyo. Na ito, kita nyo, ito napakaganda. Actually, nung nagpunta ako, tiyempo, may bumibili. Ika nga, oo, malaki puhunan, pero yung pong kanila supplier, ibinibigay sa kanila ng terms, no? Pwede yung 90 days, no? Tsaka nila babayaran yung magkano ang nakuha nilang mga produkto. Ganon, no? May ganong mga negosyo. Kahit naman dyan nag-iiyaw-iyaw ka lang ng barbecue, kung meron ka supplier ng mga baboy, manok, pwede kayong ganong mag-usap, terms ang tawag po doon. Nasa pag-uusap nyo kung gaano katagal, kung gusto nyo mag-usap kayo, o sige, 3 years to pay. Baka hindi ka na pumayag noon, wala na magbibigay siya ng supply. Diyos ko, naikain na, naitain mo na, sorry po sa mga kumakain, naidumi mo na, tas 3 years to pay, ano pa yun? Okay, so mga kaibigan, tungayan po natin ang Kitang Milenyo at ang una nating pinicture po dito ay yung po mag-asawang Manny at Melody Perez, dyan po sa may Bagong Silang Caloocan, yung Painter's Choice po na paint center, at ang kasunod po yun yung kanilang anak na nagmamanage ng kanilang Melmans Apparels, Chocolates and Chips. Mga kaibigan, panoorin po natin.
Mga katropa, gusto mo ba ng dekalidad at murang pintura para sa inyong tahanan o dili kaya ay sa inyong mga sasakyan? So mga katropa, halika at tayo mamili dito lang sa Painter's Choice Paint Center. Siyempre dito lang sa Bagong Silang, Caloocan City. Tara mga katropa, alamin natin.
Okay, so mga katropa, nandito tayo ngayon sa may Bagong Silang Caloocan kung saan ay aalamin natin dito sa Painter's Choice ang mga magagandang klaseng pintura. Ito hindi lang pa sa sasakyan, pati doon sa inyong mga bahay kung gusto nyo pagandahin. So siyempre alamin natin, alam nyo naman pandemic, kung ano ang mga affordable na pintura at para malaman natin dito sa may-ari na si Manny Perez. Tara, tingnan niyo ako. Okay, tara mga katropa, alamin natin dito sa may-ari, no, ng Painter's Choice, no, kung ano yung mga pintura na affordable, no, yung kaya ng bulsa ng ating mga katropa dyan kasi minsan kapag kamahal, siyempre tatabla, no, siyempre doon ako sa mura. So alamin natin dito kila Mr. and Mrs. Perez kung ano-ano yung mga pintura nila na po pwede sa inyong mga sasakyan, yung babagay, tandaan nyo, para, kasi yung iba sabi, hindi, yun na lang boysen, pang ano, hindi naman pwede, iba ho yung pansasakyan, iba ho yung pambahay, ano? Alamin natin. Boss, ng umaga, sila po, sila Mr. and Mrs. Perez ng Painter's Choice. No, Sir Manny, kasi maraming mga nagtitinda ng mga pintura. Sir, at siyempre, maraming klase yan. Dito sa inyong pwesto, ano ba ang mga pinakamabili na pintura? Siyempre, yung kailangan yung mura,
Kaya ng masa.
Oo, kaya ng masa. So, ano-anong mga pintura ang pwede natin?
Meron tayong mga latex, Spartan, Boysen, Solo, Rain or Shine.
So, yan yung mga pambahay.
Pambahay.
So, kadalasan ba mapili-pili dito ng mga residente yung magpapapintura ng bahay?
Siyempre, yung mura na maganda.
Hindi kasi, katulad, mayroong mga commercial, ba, yung Coach Saver, mga mas makakamura, di ba? May pari pa. Dito ba, anong pinakamura yung pintura?
Pinakamura, yun, recommend namin Spartan. Magandang klase, sir.
Hindi chinelas yun,
Hindi siya chinelas.
So, ano naman ang pagkakaiba niyan doon sa mga Boysen, sa mga Sinclair, si Mrs. kaya tanongin natin. Ano ang pagkakaiba nila?
Ang pagkakaiba, yung presyo. So, in terms of quality, halos same quality rin sa Boysen. na branded. So itong Spartan, though hindi siya, wala siyang mga commercial, walang ads na nakikita natin. Pero same quality, that's why ipinupush din namin dito sa market dito. Pero pasok sa budget ng mga consumers namin dito at mga customers.
So sa presyo, halimbawa, sabi nyo, konti lang ang diferensya. Yung konti na yung gano'n, for example, halimbawa, ang isang litro ng pintura is 500. So ano ang diferensya? Yung, ano yun, yung branded na Boysen. Sa iba, ano gano'ng kamurahan?
Ang kaibahan ng ibang brand with Boysen, which is yung premium brand, mga 100 to 150 yung kaibahan sa presyo eh. Pero in terms of quality, pwede naman siyang lumaban talaga, kaya ipinupush namin talaga para ma-afford din ng mga market namin dito.
So ayun, mga katropa, narinig nyo. Pero tatanungin natin, Sir Manny, baka mamaya pag binili ko naman mura eh, pag ipinintura ko sa bahay ko, mga makalawala, 1 linggo, bakbak na.
Hindi sir, quality yan. Quality yung inalok namin na pintura dito sa tindahan. Lahat dito ng tinitinda namin, 100% quality.
Okay, so yan yung mga pintura pa lang sa bahay. So, pwede ba ituro mo, sir, kung ano-ano yung mga pintura na pambahay?
Sir, ito, una, Spartan, Solo, gawa ng Davies, gawa ng Martial Sources, gawa ng Charter, Dance Boy, gawa ng Titans, gawa ng Boysen, Reno Shine, Platinum. Ito sir, mga pangkotse.
Ayun, so parang napakarami na tanging klase ng pintura, no? So sa lahat ng yan, itong Boysen, itong Spartan na yan, Reno Shine, ano ang pinakamahal dyan?
Boysen.
Boysen.
Oo.
So pinakamura?
Maraming mura sir, pero
yung pinakamura na?
Solo.
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 So, pero yung ano niya, quality, okay pa rin.
Okay yan.
So sa madaling salita, yung mga consumer natin dito, ang karamihan kinukuha yung pinakamura.
Pinakamura.
Okay, sa mga katropa, kita nyo. Dahil siyempre, kahit ako yon, ba't ako bibili doon sa mahal kung samantalang same quality, siyempre yung mura na kukuhanin ko. So maya-maya, no, papopos lang natin kay Joshua at alamin naman natin yung mga pampintura sa kotse. Tandaan nyo po magkaiba po ang pampintura sa kotse at sabay, tama po ba?
Tama sir, tama.
Pero kasi di ba pambakal, may pambakal na...
Meron din,
So hindi po pwedeng gamitin sa kotse yan?
hindi pa pwede yan.
Bakit?
Iba yung ordinaryong pambakal sa pangkotse.
Pero kung talagang walang-wala siguro, baka pwede yan.
Pwede yan.
So, yung sabihin natin, iba kasi ang pintura sa bahay, no, kahit pambakal, iba ho yung sa kotse kasi ang kotse ginagamitan pa ng masilya, meron pang mga inahalong, ano yun? Anong tawag doon? Pagkatas pinturahan?
Sir?
Yung pagkatas pinturahan ng kotse, ano pa yung hinahalo?
Top coat.
Yun.
Pampakintab.
Yun. So may top coat pa pampakintab. Hindi yung katulad ng pambahay na meron na siyang sinatawag na yung makintab o hindi. Ano tawag doon?
Flat at saka gloss.
Ayun. So pagka-gloss,
makintab na yan.
pagka-flat,
Wala siyang kintab. Yun ang pinaka-basic primer.
ayun. Okay, so mga katropa, mamaya alamin natin na ano yung mga magagandang klase ng pintura na pangkotse. Kasi meron ho akong bitek doon pero bitikleta lang yun, kaya hindi masyadong ano. Okay, mamaya magbabalik ko kami ulit. Okay, so mga katropa, no, kanina pinag-usapan natin yung mga pintura sa bahay. Ngayon, yun namang mga pangkotse, alamin natin dito kay Mr. and Mrs. Perez kung alin yung mga magandang klase at alin yung mura na pwedeng pampintura sa mga kotse ng ating mga katropa dyan. Ano? Kasi kadalasan yung iba, ulanit arawin no? Alamin natin dito, baka mamaya, pag napinturahan na nun maulanan lang na 1 linggo, back na ulit, kaya pangit. So, Sir Manny, alin dito ang mga pangkotse natin na magaganda para sa mga...
Sir, ito, Ansal, Weber Urethane, Acrylic, Prime. Ito yung mga ginagamit nating top coat, pang pakintab sa kotse.
So, just sa mga pintura na yan, alin ang pwede nating i-repair sa mga consumer natin dito na affordable, mura?
Weber, Ansal. Kaya, dalawa na yan. Kaya niya yan.
Meron pa bang bukod dyan? Meron pa akong napalitan para may kapag-klase dito?
Meron maganda sir, kaya lang baka hindi afford ng customer natin Pero ito, magandang klase, kayang bili ng masa.
So alin dyan ang mas mura sa dalawang yan?
Weber Urethane.
Gano'n naman ang kamurahan niya?
Konting diferensya lang sir.
50 to 80 pesos.
Tatanungin natin si Mrs. Ma'am, ito bang mga pintura to kung sakaling may pintura kasi meron akong kotse rin, hindi kaya mga 1 buwan pangit na siya?
Hindi sir, ito ang i-guarantee namin. Talagang ang mga dinidisplay at pinupush namin produkto dito, high quality talaga na hindi kami mapapaya sa aming mga customer. Hanggat maaari ina-assess namin yung supply or stock ng pintura na darating sa amin. Sinasample muna namin on our own para pagka ipinush namin sa customer namin, 100% di kami mapapahiya.
So yan mga katropa, Weber, tsaka ano isa?
Prime.
Ayan, Ansal. So yan ang magagandang klase ng pintura para doon sa inyong mga kotse. Yung mga taga rito, particular taga Bagong Silang, na kayo pumunta ng malayo na andito na, kompleto na to. Tsaka isa nga pa pala, kung sakali, halimbawa, meron kayong mga ready color dyan, halimbawa, red, blue, meron akong gustong kakaibang kulay. For example, gusto ko yung kulay talong, lalo na pagka sa gabi. Meron ba kayong gano'n?
Kayang-kayang timplahan, sir. Kayang-kaya natin gawin dito
So may panimpla kayo?
Kayang-kaya yan.
Pwedeng makuha yung kulay?
Kayang-kaya.
Ano kinakailangan? Darin yung kotse o may titignan?
Magdala lang siguro, sir, ng sample ng kulay na gusto nila. Titimplahin natin dito yan.
Pwede ba nating makita kung ano yung mga pagtimpla nyo rito?
Ito, sir. Ito mga ito. May mga international red, metallic pine, talo blue, sayan ng dilin. Kaya-kaya, kompleto tayong
kung mag-iibang kulay, meron kayong, nasa yung pagtimpla nyo sila sabi?
Ito rin yan.
Ayan din.
Yan din yan.
Ano yung parang nakita mo aparato?
Actually, meron kami dito ng Boysen na mixing machine. Ginagamit namin yon sa mga latex paint. So halimbawa may mga kulay sila na gusto, may color chart kang ibibigay sa mga customer, pipili sila ng kulay, and then may mga formulation kami ng mga kulay na yon.
So, pambahay siya, hindi pang
Pambahay. Yung pangkotse, may mga, hindi pwede doon, may sarili siyang mixing. Though yung pangkotse, pwede din namin siyang i-mix based doon sa mga formulation din na meron kami.
Sa machine na yun?
Shaker pwede, pero sa mixing, may sarili siyang mixing talaga.
Okay. So, at least nililinaw natin, kasi kala ko kanina, yung nakita kong aparato, para dito. Bukod pala ito, mga pambahay, no? So, pwede ba nating i-describe mo, Sir Manny, kung paano ang ginagawa ro pagka mag-titimpla?
Pwede tayo, sir.
Natin doon. Ayan, ito po, ito. Ito yung sinasabing pantimpla ng mga pintura. So, paano ang ginagawa rito? Pagkalimbawa, ibang kulay, paano siya titimplahin?
Okay. Sir, halimbawa, meron na silang napiling kulay. So, based sa napiling kulay, may code yun. So, meron kaming folder ng mga formulation. So, ito yung sample ng color chart. So, may mga code yan. Pakita natin. So, may mga code yan at name ng color. And then, based sa mapili nila, magre-refer kami doon sa chart namin ng formulation. Meron kaming folder ng formulation ng bawat code. And then, pag nakuha na namin yung formulation, dadali na namin yung base ng pintura, which is usually white yon. So, tatanong namin sa customer, ano bang gusto nila, flat, semi-gloss, or gloss.
So, yan kaya ma'am, kung sakali, magpapano ko lang, talagang kuha-kulay yan?
Yes, sir.
Kaya malayo?
Yes, sir. Kuha po ito. Kasi talagang exact formulation po ito. Na ibinigay sa amin ng Boysen kasi inauthorize din kami with the issuance of this mixing machine and colorants.
So, pag ito sa pag-finish, tinuruan kayo?
Yes po. Tinuruan po kami how to operate this one, saka this one, and paano po namin makukuha yung formulation. Opo. So, yep.
So, ayan mga katropa, ganito ang purpose nito. Kita ang ganyan. Actually, doon sa parting Kamanaba, wala pa akong nakikita nito. Dito ko lang nakita. Kala ko nga kanina to ice cream yung ginaganon. Buti na lang, piniliwanag ni Sir Manny kanina, ito pala yung parang ting-ting color. So hindi lang mo yan, hindi lang ito paint center nga pala, lilinawin natin, hardware din. Kasi nakita ko may mga bolts and nuts, may mga spray paint, may mga bala ng grinder. So maya-maya do, pupuntahan natin doon kung ano-ano yun. No? Ikaw, Sir Manny. Ayan, ito po makikita nyo mga katropa. At hindi lang paint center. Ito, may mga tools din sila na pambahay din, pero para magagamit. Sir Manny, akala ko nung una is paint center lang to. Yung pala, meron ka palang mga pang-hardware, ano? So, ibig sabihin hindi na sila aalis, ika nga, one-shop division na kung sakali.
Tama, sir. One-stop shop kami dito. Lahat ng kailangan nila, kompleto dito sa
So, sa mga pang-hardware naman, kompleto na kayo. Ano ang mga tinda nyo sa
meron, sir. May mga pang-grinder, mga tools, ayan, pangkotse, kumpleto tayo dito, sir.
Ito rin. Oh, pati yung bolts and nuts meron din.
Meron, sir, ito.
Ayun. Kita nyo ha. Ito, may pang bolts and nuts. Halika natin. So ito, katulad nyo, Sir Manny, itong mga bolts and nuts, kabisado ba ng inyong mga salesman, sales lady, kung ano-ano ang mga sukat ng hinahanap ng tao?
Kabisado nila yan, sir. Kabisado nila yan.
Hindi na kailangan tanongin.
Hindi na.
So siguro tatanungin ko sa presyo na lang kung hihingi tawad.
Oo, yun na lang.
So mga taga-Caloocan ha, kung kayo hihingi ng tawad, huwag kayo sa kanila makapag-usap. Hanapin nyo si Sir Manny tsaka yung misis niya,
si Ma'am Melody.
Yun, si Ma'am Melody ha, kasi sila ang magdidesisyon kung ibibigay sa inyo ng malaking discount. O ngayon, kung hanggang humihingi pa rin kayo ng discount, baka malamang din yan nakibigyan ng discount, ibibigay na lang sa inyo. No? So ano pa, Sir Manny, ang nandito sa iyong pwesto bukod dyan sa bolt and nuts? Ito, may spray paint.
Spray paint, sir.
So ito is mga spray paint na paano to? Pang sasakyan din, pang bahay, pang ano?
Pwede siya. Usually, ginagamit ito ng mga customer natin dito, mga sa motor.
Doon lang. So hindi siya po pwede sa pang-kotse-kotse?
Hindi siya, sir. Hindi siya pwede.
Parang ano na siya, pang retoke lang.
Pang retoke lang, oo.
Ayun, so ito rin, ano?
Ito rin tayo dyan.
Oo. So meron ka din dyan yung mga high-tech na tinatawag?
Oo, meron tayo dyan.
Meron din.
May mga special color.
So ano pinagkaiba ng high-tech sa ordinary?
Yung high-tech usually ginagamit dyan sa mga motor. Yung mga makina ng motor.
Para hindi siya...
hindi malusaw. Kasi pag yung ordinaryong paints lang ginamit natin doon, malulusaw yung pintura natin. So kaya kailangan high-temp.
Ayun. Ay, sa mga katropa, maya-maya tatanungin natin yung kanyang mga tindero doon, ha? Kung ano ba, may bumibiling buraot, may bumibili bang kung makatawad, halos gusto, ibigay na lang, alamin natin. At kung halimbawa may tumatawad, ano ginagawa nila? Meron ba silang sagad na presyo talaga? At kung humihingi pa, ay kung nagpupunta sila kay Ma'am Melody at Sir Manny, kung magkano ang hinihingi tawad. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Nasaan na yung ating sales lady? Ayun, si ate, ano to? Ano pangalan ni ate? Ate?
Cecil.
At Cecil. Cecil, ikaw ang nandito sa harapan. Actually, di ba? Alam mo nga kanina, hold upper kami. So, kapag may bumibili sa yung customer, halimbawa, nagtanong siya ng pintura, at tatawad, paano ginagawa mo?
Ginagano lang. Ate, ganito lang talaga ang presyo niyan. Magandang quality na to. Pero, hindi na namin kayo aanuhin sa mataas na presyo. Tama na to.
Hindi, kung talagang halimbawa ko, ate, talagang ito lang pera ko. Ano,
kung 5 piso, 10 piso lang, okay na lang.
At bibigyan mo pa ako ng tawad kung 5 piso lang. Kaya nga ako tatawad. Halimbawa, ang presyo, halimbawa 300. Baka po pwede 200 na lang.
Tatawag natin kay boss.
Yun. So, ang huling desisyon na boss.
Si boss talaga.
O, ibibigay. Buti, hindi ka nasabihan ni boss mo ng, wag mo nang patawarin, bigay mo na lang, wag mo nang pagbayarin, hindi namang dumaan.
Lugi na yun.
Lugi na yun. So, mga kaibigan, nililinaw po, kung tatawad naman ho kayo, yung ating mga consumer, wag naman yung parang gusto nyong hingin na lang yung pintura. Pwede naman kayong tumawad Kung reasonable, at hindi naman malulugi may-ari, wala akong problema. Ngayon, kung tatawad nyo, parang hinihingi nyo na, ibang usapan na yun. Meron pa kayo na-encounter dito, ate, na pagka bumili, isosole kasi hindi maganda?
Meron.
Ano sinasabi?
Sabi, ayaw namin ng ganyan kasi ganito, ganyan. Yung pala po, gusto lang nila sa iba bumili na mas mura-mura. Pero mura, wala namang quality. Ayaw naman namin ng ganun.
Yung mga talagang gustong bumili ng mura ho, wag na kayo dito pumunta, bilhin nyo na lang kalburo. Yun, siguradong mura ho. No? Pero, siyempre, may puhunan yan. Alam ka namang namuhunan ako ng 10 piso, bibigay ko sa inyo na 5 piso. Di talo ho ako. So, ano ginagawa nyo pag may nagbabalik na ganun?
Palit na lang item. Palit item.
Palit item. Pero yung balik pera, hindi.
Hindi. Palit item.
Ayun. So, yun no. Kadalasan naman ganun Palit item. No? Pero meron kayo na-encounter na nagtalo kayo, nagsigawan?
Wala naman po. Mababait kami dito.
Hindi, I mean, siyempre, yung customer.
Kailangan pakibagayan ng customer kasi may kasabihan nga po customer is always right.
Ako ang nagbebenta ito, hindi pwede sa akin yun. Malamang makakaaway ko. Okay? So, yung mga katropa, sino pa ba natin pwedeng tanungin dito? Ito, si Jerry. Jerry. Halika dito. Ito si Jerry, isa to, lalaki to Jerry, dito ba may na-encounter ka na customer na makulit, na pinipilit na kailangan ito na lang ang presyo na ibigay mo sa kanya?
Mayroon po. Pero usually naman po na napapakiusapan namin sila. And then, nakakasundo rin bandang huli po sa presyong dapat po.
Pero wala naman nangyayari dito yung nagtatalo kayo, nagsisigawan.
Ay, hindi po. Hindi pwede dito po yun.
I mean, kayo, ako customer, sinigawan kita, wala naman.
Ay, hindi naman po. Porket sinigawan kami ng customer, sisigawan na rin po kami. Nagkukos po ng away yun eh. So, hinahabaan na lang po namin pasensya. Kasi hindi mo naman po lahat ng customer is nakakaintindi or maiintindihan ka.
Sa dinidiplomasya mo? Okay. Okay, ito. Teka, may customer tayo. May customer. Tingnan natin kung ano kinukuha ni ate. Ayun, yan. Yan na, may customer.
Ano po siya?
Hindi, sige, okay na. Ate, ano binibili nyo?
Pintura po, nagtatanong pa lang.
Pambahay po.
Pambahay.
Kapag hindi kayo nagkamali ng pinuntahan kasi marami yung klase rito.
Oo, nakita ko nga.
Na merong pang-flat, merong makintab, merong flat. No? Ano ba, buong bahay?
Hindi, sa roofing.
Pag-roofing.
Opo.
Pero dito nga, kumpleto at murang-mura ho. At may libre hong kalendaryo yan. Babalik lang kayo sa December. So yan, si ate bumibili kasi nagpa-imprenta pa ho eh. Yan bibili. So nag-ano siya kung anong kulay na pambubong. So mami, alamin natin kung ano-ano yan. Sige, ate, kausapin mo na.
Kakausapin ko. Anong kulay?
Ano namang maganda para sa ano?
Mga ano tayo? Mga galon-galon ba? Naubusan kami ng galon. May ganyan pero lang yung awal. Hanapin lang po kasi. Ito po.
Kulay. Poison to. Wala kayong niyang
Meron kami. Ano?
Okay, so mga katropa, tayo natapos na, naikot na natin lahat yan. At baka merong last word itong mag-asawa, itong partner, kita nyo naman Ito yung mga actually, totoo, sasabihin ko na, mga kababata ko nun sa Malabon, Nung kasing kami mga bata pa, nung uhugin pa kami ni Manny, magkakasama kami, pero ngayon, ito matatanda na kami. So ano last word nyo, Mr. and Mrs.?
Sir, sa lahat ng mga makakapanood, unang-una, nagpapasalamat kami sa mga suporta ng mga supplier namin. Unang-una sa March Resources, maraming salamat mga boss. Sa Rainbow Color, maraming salamat. Sa Barcelona, maraming salamat din po. Sa Platinum, maraming salamat.
So ano ba mga mag-suporta sa inyo ng mga supplier? Ano ba?
Binigyan kami ng ample supply, first of all. And then, syempre, tinulungan din kami in terms of sa payment scheme. Mga terms.
So,
kasi malaking bagay yun eh.
1 year terms, 1 year?
Hindi naman. So, at least nakatulong sa amin yun, yung pagbibigay ng mga credit terms sa amin para at least magkaroon kami ng pagkakataong mabenta siya sa tamang panahon and then makaikot din yung aming funds para at least mapaikot namin yung aming operation daily. Makaya namin ang lahat.
Bali, kahit paano napapaikot nyo, pinagkatiwalaan kayo sa terms. Speaking of supplier, binigyan kayo ng terms. Sa customer ba nagbibigay kayo terms?
Yung iba, binibigyan namin.
Ayun, pagkilala.
So,
pagka hindi,
usually, COD lang din talaga.
Sa mga katropa, malinaw, pagkakakilala, kaya makipagkilala na kayo, bibigyan kayo ng terms. So, ano pinakamatagal yung terms? 1 week?
30 days.
Matagal-tagal 30 days na makakaipon pa. So, after 30 days, for example, meron kayong binigyan ng terms, hindi nagbayad, paano gagawin?
Sisingilin talaga, sir.
Kung halimbawa, nangako uli.
Bibigyan pa ng pagkakataon.
Kapag hindi pa rin natupad, ano lang kasunod?
Thank you.
Hindi. Actually, pwede nyo naman silang ireklamo. May resibo naman yan, di ba? Meron naman nangyari dito na
mga consumer na kakilala nyo humingi ng terms at hindi nag-bite, na ireklamo nyo na sa pulis sa barangay?
Wala pa naman, sir.
So far, wala pa naman, sir. Oo.
So at least ang babait kasi kaya wala pa, pero kung may-ari nito, ganun ang gagawin nyo, hindi po pwede. Bibigyan ko kayo ng mga legal actions. Okay, so wala na kayong mensahe sa ibang mga
Maraming salamat, sir.
sa mga customer.
Ay, opo. Magpapasalamat din po kami sa mga customer namin na talagang tumatangkilik na aming mga produkto. Noong una nagsisimula kami, napakahirap. Siyempre, kailangan mo ipakilala yung produkto mo, yung serbisyo mo. Pero nung naipakilala na namin, and siguro na ibigay namin yung karapat-dapat na serbisyo para sa kanila, naturuan din namin sila kung anong tamang pag-apply ng mga produkto na ibinebenta namin. So nakakatuwa kasi bumabalik din sila and nire-refer din kami sa ibang mga tao. Saka sa mga projects din namin, sa mga housing projects, saka meron din na rin kaming realty project ngayon. So nakakatuwa po at pinagtiwalaan po kami sa produktong na-offer namin. Eh nagpapasalamat po kami sa lahat ng customer na talagang sumusuporta at talagang nagbibigay ng tiwala sa amin.
So, yun, sa mga katropa, narinig nyo naman. For example, isa na lang tatanong ko kay Sir Manny. For example, contractor ako. Kailangan ko ng mga pintura sa projects ko. Pwede ba nyo akong bigyan ng credit line? At in terms gaano katagal, no? Pagka contractor,
Pwede, sir. Welcome. Hanggang 30 days.
Ayun. So, ano ang mga hinahanap sa kanyang mga papers as a contractor?
Siyempre, man tayo nung legal ng mga projects nila kung talagang lihitimo. Mga permit ng BIR. Ayan, kailangan natin yan.
So, ano yun? I-deliver o i-pick up?
Di-deliver namin. Pwede.
Contractor, ha? Ako, may kaibigan ako contractor, ha? Dito ka pumunta, ha? Pero hindi na ako hihingi ng komisyon. Basta dito ka na lang pumunta, ha? Okay, sa mga katropa, mamaya may pupuntahan naman tayo. Meron tayong isang picture. Ito'y pagkain naman, ha? Yung mga sweet lovers dyan, yung mga, lalo ngayon magbabalentines, ha? Mga tsokolate po yun. Mamaya po. Mga katropa, punta na dito sa Painter's Choice Paint Center para gumanda ang inyong mga bahay at gayon din ang inyong mga sasakyan. Tara na, mga katropa! Okay, so mga katropa, ngayon ay nandito tayo. Dito pa rin sa bagong silang Caloocan kung saan ito naman ang pinuntahan natin. Parang bazaar, ano? May mga bags, may mga sapatos, at syempre may mga delicacies din. Katulad ng mga chocolates, mga pang-snack. So alamin natin, no? Ito kasi parang gandang tignan. Parang mga imported ang mga tinda nila. Tanong natin kung ito ba yung mga imported o local at gaano kalaki ang diferensya nila doon sa kanilang presyo, doon sa local at sa imported. Tara, pasok tayo. Tara. Yan. Okay mga katropa, alamin natin dito. Kitang-kita nyo, batang-bata ang manager, si Ate Marty. Ate Marty, kamusta ang sales mo dito sa Pwesto?
Okay naman po. Sa ngayon po, bagong bukas po kasi kami. Kaya minsan po, mababa talaga yung sales. Minsan din po mataas.
So, gaano katagal na ba itong pwesto?
Halos mga isang buwan pa lang po.
So, dito sa mga tinda mo, kasi napansin ko parang imported.
Opo.
So, puro imported ba siya?
Meron din po kami local.
Alin yun? Nasaan dito? Turo mo. Nasaan dito yung mga local na mga tinda?
Eto po, sir. Local po yan.
Yan yung nachos, yung uso, no?
Opo.
Ano ba yan? Basta pag binuksa, kakainin na lang o i-dip mo pa?
Depende naman po sa customer sa kakain, no?
So, teka, napasin ko, 80 pesos, ang laki ng kabor, laki-laki. Bakit ito, 165? Mahal.
Kasi po siya, ito imported, ito local.
Local lang to.
Opo.
So, kapag halimbawa, ang customer, tumatawad pa ba dyan sa mga presyo na kalagay dyan?
Minsan po, hindi na sila
For
tumatawag.
example, ako, bibili ko, baka po pwede ito, 150 na lang, pwede ba yan? Di ba lugi?
Oo, lugi po.
Lugi. So talagang fixed na yan.
Opo, fixed price.
Pero kung halimbawa may tatawad pa rin, for example, bulto, maramihan. Hanggang magkano discount na pwede mabigay?
Mga 5% discount. 5%.
Kung maramihan.
Opo.
Pero kung mga pa isa-isa lang, fix na yan.
Opo, fix na
So,
po.
alin dyan ang mga imported pa?
Ito po, yung Doritos.
Imported dyan.
Opo. Tas,
Kaya pala no, 275.
Opo.
Okay, ano pa imported dyan? Toto Pringles, yan.
ayan, imported po.
Imported dyan. So,
Tsaka
alin dyan ang mga local naman?
Ang local po namin, ito po.
Ano to? Ano ba yan?
Cheese rolls po yan.
At ano yan yung parang whopper?
Opo, wafer.
So, local yan.
Opo.
Ito,
Ito, imported po.
imported. So, itong mga picnics po.
Ayan, imported po yan.
So, tanungin ko lang, kasi minsan meron ako nabibila ng mga supermarket. Nakabili ako minsan ng parang clover na sarado siya, sealed. Hindi ko siya kinain, mga kinain ko after siguro 1 month. Pagbukas ko, makunat. Dito ba nangyayari?
Hindi po, sir. Tinitingnan po namin kung kailan yung expiry date niya. Tapos, lahat kung tinitingnan po namin, sir.
Yeah, for example, expiry naman ng mga ganyan. For example, is 1 year. Isang buwan pa rin, 2 buwan. Minsan makunat na, hindi pa nangyayari.
Hindi naman po, sir.
Check mo lang yung sa akin. So, ito, saan mga galing na imported na yan? Ito ba ito imported ba ito?
Ito po, local po yan.
Local lang yan.
Opo.
Local made. So, ang imported ito, saan galing to? Yung mga yan?
Ayan, sa US po yan.
Yung isa, yung cheddar na yun.
Opo, sa US din.
US na yun. Pati yung mga nason. Yung chichang na yun.
Ano po yan? Pero,
Lechong kawali, chicharo, no?
ayan, local po.
Local yan. So, ang laki ng kabungahan.
Opo.
So, yung ano yun, meatloaf ba yun? Spam? Ano ba yun?
Spam po yan.
Imported?
Opo, from Korea po yan.
Ako yung mag-ayaw, 130. Yung local spam natin, wala.
Nasa, wala.
Ano pa ba mga imported yun? Imported ba?
Puro local na po yan.
Puro local na to. So, teka, may nakita akong flowers pala, no? Sa bagay, magbabalintay. Tanungin na natin mga katropa, yung mga may kabalintino dyan, magbibigay ng bulaklak. Magkano ang benta nyo ng bulaklak?
Ito po, sir, yung benta po namin ito, 35 pesos.
Ang isang piraso?
Opo.
May chocolate siyang kasama?
Opo.
Kapag walang chocolates, lahat ba siya meron?
Opo, meron po, sir. Ito po, 130 lang.
Ano ang laman nito? 130?
Ito po, puro, bundle po siya.
Puro chocolates?
Opo.
Kita niyo mga katropa, puro chocolates. So, 130 siya.
Opo.
Tapos, ang flowers?
Ang flowers,
35 ang isang piraso.
Opo.
Kung halimbawa, ang kukunin ko is tatlo, di ba po pwede siya 3-400?
Kasi po ngayon pa sa February may 5% discount po kami pag naka-purchase po kayo ng 200 pataas. So ngayon,
ano ang discount nyo kapag 200 pataas ang pamilya?
mga nasa 190 na lang po siguro yun. Opo.
So, pagka ganong may maramihang bulto, may libreng ka-Valentines. Wala pala. Dito lang pala. So, flowers, tas, ano to? Ano itong isang bouquet na to? Bouquet?
Ganyan din po yung bundle.
Puro chocolate din
Opo,
siya.
puro chocolate.
Magkano naman to?
Magkano po ba? Magkano po? 120 po.
120. So, mga katropa, kung yung mga girlfriend, misis, pwede kayong mag-jowa. Yan, pwede kayo rito. Ngayon, kung medyo nagtitipid kayo, mayroon ba kayo rito mga goya?
Goya po. Wala po kami, pero madami po kaming classmates. Opo.
So, kumusta naman ang iyong mga angels?
Ayan po.
Kapag ka ba sila nandito, ini-entertain mo?
Opo, may entertain po namin sila.
Sana mga katropa si Ma'am Marty, kaya ng kanyang business. Batang-bata pa, natawa na Ma'am Marty.
14 years old
Kita
po.
mo, 14, may negosyo na. Yung mga millennials dyan, kita nyo, si Ma'am Marty, bata pa, pero may negosyado na, business-minded na. No? Yung iba dyan, yung pa-aksi-aksi, pa-ML, si Ma'am, nag-business na. Nag-aaksi ka pa ba?
Hindi po, hindi mo ako nanonood.
Hindi siya marunong maglaro, kaya, so Ma'am, pwede natin kausapin yung mga angels mo. Okay, halika. Ito.
This boss.
Dito.
Ate Rachel, si Ate Grace, si Ate Hazel.
Yun. Naliligo naman sila. Hindi, joke lang. Okay, pagka may customer dito, halimbawa, may pumasok, kaya ano una nyo sinasabi?
Mura po yung mga paninda po namin, tsaka talagang kaya-kaya po nila.
Wala ba kayo experience dito na tumawad sa inyo? For example, yung 265, sabihin ko ako bibili. Di ba po pwedeng 200 na lang?
Meron po, pag mga ibang chocolates po, pag maramihan po, nagagano po sila. Parang pwede po yung humingi po ng discount. Pero pag bago po ka na, mag-ano po muna kami sa amo namin, bago po namin ibigyan po ng discount po.
Dito ba, wala pang nagpupunta dito na bumili sa'yo? Di ba pahingi natin po?
Wala naman po. Sa ngayon po, wala naman po. And syempre po,
bilang isang kasama dito para sa pagbebenta, kailangan po entertain natin with maturity yung mga customers, and kailangan professional ka pa rin pagdating sa mga ganon. Just in case man po na may mga ganong customer, no, syempre kailangan nandun pa rin yung pagiging professional mo para sa pakikipag-communicate dun sa customer. So andun pa rin dapat po.
So, si ate, kung sakali may humingi ng number mo, bibigay mo.
Hindi po.
Customer ako. Bumili ko ng marami. Pwede ba mahingi number mo para pag may kailangan ako, text kita. Yung mga ganun.
Pwede po, basta bibili po sila.
Kung halimbawa, nag-text na nga sa'yo, meron ba kayong ganito chocolates, ganito, nasasagutin mo?
Opo.
Kung halimbawa, after nun nanliligaw na, ano gagawin
Ay.
mo? Iba-block mo na.
Hindi po, kasi customer po
Ay,
yun.
depende. Kung kamukha ni Cardo Dalisa, you'd go. Di ba? Pero kung kamukha ni Pulgoso, hindi siguro. No? So ayan, mga kaibigan, nakita nyo yung angels nila. Ang gaganda. Oh. Kita nyo. Joshua, panitingin mo doon sa isa. Mukhang ano, ha? So ayan, mga katropa, kung kayo'y pupunta, meron kayo, lalo ngayon magba-Valentine's, ha? Yung gusto nyong magbigay ng mga branded o kahit locally made na pero nakita nyo naman ay maganda, punta kayo rito. Ano ulit, Ma'am Marty, pangalan nitong ano? Dito ka. Ano ulit ang pangalan nitong in-shop?
Melmans po. Melmans. Opo.
Ano yung Melmans?
Pinagsama po namin yung name ni Mami, tsaka ni Daddy, Melody, tsaka Manny. Melmans po.
So yung Melmans, ha? Pero ito parang, ano ba to? A gift shop? Hindi ko masabi kung ano to eh.
Chocolates, apparels,
Kaibigan, no? Chocolate apparels. Dito lang yan sa Bagong Silang ulit, ha? Dito lang sa Bagong Silang, Caloocan, ha? Yung mga taga rito, siyempre malapit, alangan naman lumayo pa kayo. So, sabi ni Ma'am Marty, depende ho, magpunta kayo, kung maramihan, bibigyan kayo ng discount. At ngayon, kung talagang ang binihingin yung discount, parang gusto niya nang iuwi at kainin na lang, siguro baka bigay na lang sa inyo, no? So, ano yun natin? Depende ho, kasi katulad yan, nakita natin kanina, may imported, pero yung local, hindi naman natin masasabing local. So, katulad ng sinabi ni Ma'am Marty, na hindi naman daw na-experience po rito yung pagkaano, yung kubukunat. So, try nyo po. May mga chocolates pa pala, no? Kaya nga, chocolates ano, no? So, ayan, marami, ayan, may mga tsokolate pa sila dito. Puro imported to. So, ayan, makita nyo, dito, bay, 60 pesos na. Kita nyo, imported naman ho kasi. Kung gusto nyo local, bumili ho kayo nung parang itlog ng pugo dyan sa tindahan. So, ayan, may mga Toblerone. So, talagang branded ho, no? Kaya, hindi ho nakakapanghinayang dahil imported naman. So, Ma'am Martin, tingin mo, this Valentine's kaya, dadagsahin ka rin.
Opo naman, yung mga may gustong bumili talaga ng opo, yung mga may
yung mga magjowa dyan, punta na kayo rito sa Melmans, Murang-mura lang at may libre kayong kalendaryo. Pagdating ng Pasko, siyempre, February na tayo ngayon. So, sa Pasko, nagpapa-imprenta na siya. Okay, mga katropa?
Mga katropa, ano pa hinihintay nyo? Pasok na, bili na dito sa Melmans at siguradong matutuwa ang inyong mga GF, ang inyong mga BF o ang inyong mga misis pagka kayo nagpunta dito sa Melmans Chocolates, Chips, and Apparels. Tara na mga milenyo!
Ayan mga kaibigan, napanood nyo po yung ating Kitang Milenyo, no? Dito sa Millennial Online TV. At yung una, yung Painter's Choice na paint center doon po sa may Bagong Silang, sa Phase 9, no? Sa Langit Road, no? Sa Bagong Silang. At yung sumunod, yung pwesto rin nila na isa ng mga chocolate, chips, and apparels na yung kanilang anak na si Ma'am Marty, si Ate Marty ang nagmamanage po. Kita nyo, bata-bata pero business-minded na. O yung mga magjowa dyan sa Bagong Silang, punta kayo sa Melmans. Yung mga chocolates nila, branded tsaka yung mga chips, no? Nakita ko yung mga nachos nila, yung mga talagang may imported. May local din naman, pero konti lang ang diferensya dun sa imported dun local, no? Sa bagay, choices nyo yun. Kung ano ang gusto nyo, imported ba o local. Siyempre, kung pariregalo nyo sa inyong misis, GF, Jowa, mas maganda na imported. Si Joshua, hindi ko nagbibigay ng local yan. Puro imported na binibigay niya sa jowa niya. Okay, sa mga kaibigan, ako alas 5:51 na po ng hapon, Philippine Standard Time. At tayo, sabi ni Enad Isidro, pa-shoutout po si Zai at si Richelle. Zai, Richelle, shoutout daw, sabi ni Enad. Nandiyan ba kayo sa Francis? Ano ginagawa nyo dyan? Naghahanap buhay ba o nang buburaot? Okay, at nanonood din sa atin si Brother Sandy Santa Maria Guerrero, yung ating ding katropa. Buhat po dyan sa kalokal natin, sa lokal ng Nawal, dyan sa Malabon. At si Kuya Rene D. Santos, sa Kuya Rene sa Pandiga, di ba? Magandang hapon din kay Kuya Rene D. Santos. Alam ko sa Pandi si Kuya Rene. At kaya din kay Ma'am Agatha Sanchez po ng The Solo Parents Philippines Incorporated. Siya po ang president, At syempre po yung ating katropang simpatiko ng Barangay Tugatog dyan sa Malabon, si Barangay Kagawad, Sani Dadad Pineda. Ayan, napakaganda, At actually, ako po naka-schedule din dahil bibili rin ako ng pintura doon sa Painter's Choice. Na yun nga, may sinabi na siya sa akin brand, yung Weber daw maganda. Sabi sa akin ni Sir Manny, hindi ka raw mapapahiya doon, sabi ko, hindi muna ngayon. Pagka, tsaka ako sa PPM, tsaka ako babalik doon. Marami pa tayong inaasikaso ngayon. At syempre, alam nyo naman na malapit ng eleksyon. Nga pala, ngayon ang unang araw po ng pangangampanya ng ating mga presidential, vice president, senator aspirant, ang umpisa ng kanilang pangangampanya. At ang pagkakalam ko, next month yata, ayun namang ating mga local candidates. Abay, galingan nyo na po ang inyong mga gagawing pag-iikot kung paano nyo kukumbisihin ang inyong mga constituent na para kayo ay iboto. Tandaan nyo po, matatalino po ang ating mga kababayan. Hindi na uso ngayon ang pera-pera na bibigyan nyo sila pera at iboboto na kayo, hindi ho. Po pwede, kukunin ang pera nyo, pero kung yung asahan na pag binigay nyo na kayo iboboto. Okay, sa mga kaibigan, sa oras na alas 5:53 po ng hapon, Philippine Standard Time, muli po magpapakilala muna si Joshua Baltao at muli kami magbabalik. At sa aming pagbabalik, itutunghay po namin sa inyo ang ginawang Pandesal Forum dyan po sa Quezon City, kung saan po ay naging bisita si Ilocos Norte Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc, na kung paano po ang nangyari na ng after pandemic, yung pong kanilang economic recovery, tourism and investment potential. Okay, so mga kaibigan, magbabalik po kami pagkatapos magpakilala ni Joshua Sumulat Baltao. Magbabalik po kami.
Inaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho? Pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay. Narito na ang sagot, mga katropa. Ang Super Manok Lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-anirize ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam mo pa. At siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super na sa lasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay nyo, mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na, baka maabusan ka, katropa. Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalang lokal, kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sinalog ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dama Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
At tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Now,
Talakayin, rebisahin, opinyon, halawakin, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Okay mga kaibigan, muli po kami nagbabalik dito pa rin sa programang Tropa ng Millennial Online TV at ako pa rin ang inyong kasama, Rosel Lopez. At sa technical side po ay ang ating kaagapay, ang ating sidekick, si Joshua Baltao. At yun, magandang hapon din sa lahat ng ating mga katropang LMT. No? Sa pangunguna po yun, si Sir Haji Crespo, si Ma'am Jacqueline Lagpao Adahar, si Ma'am Linda Villagonza, Sir Jebren Sibug, at Sir Romel Martinez. Yan, si Miss D. Si Miss Dig na kahulugan. Sino pa ba? Si Sir Jojo Revilla pala. Yan, kasama rin si Sir Jojo Revilla. Ayan, magandang hapon po sa lahat ating katropang licensed massage therapist. At sa Sabado po mga kaibigan, muli abangan niyo po yung programa ni Ate J, ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo. Sa Sabado ho yata, ibang kanya lulutin, laigo. Ano ba yung laigo? Gulay po yung gulay. Pero masarap po. Masarap yung lulutuin niyang gulay. Yun po kung kayo kakain sa mga Chinese restaurant, meron po nun. Pero yung lulutuin niya ng malamang masarap. Abangan niyo po yan sa Sabado ng umaga para sa mga misis, sa mga millennials na walang alam kundi mag-aksi, mag-ML, tumunghay po kayo doon sa programa ni Ate J at kayo matututong magluto, ika nga, a delicious food on a pauper price. Ayun, magandang hapon din kay Bing Edison Makadat Torres. Ayun, si Ma'am Bing. Ito po si Ma'am Bing ay nasa Middle East. Ayun, watching daw po from Middle East. Nasa Dubai ka, no, Ma'am Bing? Ayan, nakita nyo, nasa Dubai, nanonood si Ma'am Bing. Alam nyo, itong ating Millennial Online TV ay hindi lamang po dito sa Pilipinas, kundi even in abroad. Nandiyan po yung mga nanonood sa atin sa abroad, sina Evelyn Batul sa Kuwait, at si Ma'am Evelyn Limatsuo na nasa Japan, si Miss Deberly Imperial nasa Hong Kong. Marami pa ho. Meron tayong nasa United Arab Emirates. Yung aking pisa nanonood din sa atin. Yung aking pisang isa din na si Michael Copiao nandun po sa Canada. Yung aking isang pisa na si Cindy naman po ay nasa Korea. So, marami po, no? Marami. Ayun, sabi ni Ma'am Bing, waiting also on air kay Kaagila Magas. Ayun. Magkakilala kayo ni kay Kaagila Magas. Ibig sabihin kayo pala ay mag-asawa ni Kaagila Magas. Tama po ba? Tama ba, Ma'am Bing? Ay kayo asawa ni ni Kaagila, ni Magas Gakusana. Akala ko kayo asawa, Ma'am Bing. So kasi si Kaagila, si Agila Magas Gakusana po, Ma'am Bing, is Iligan City. Di ba, ano ba kayo? Davao, Iligan City. Mindanao kayo, no? Okay, sa mga kaibigan, eksakto alas 6 po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time. At ngayong mga oras na ito ay siguro tutungayin na natin sa inyo, mga kaibigan. At ako, sabi pa sa atin ni Sir Haji Crespo,
naging salesman din daw pala ako. Natawa siya, naging salesman daw ako. Hindi naman si Raji kasi nung nag-cover kami doon na taon, merong customer. Siyempre, tinanong ko na kung ano binibili niyang pintura, di ba? Baka mamaya, binibili niyang pintura yung pambahay o pang sasakyan. At nanonood din pala sa atin yung aking pamangkin, si Mang Jose. Siya po may-ari, silang mag-asawa ng Super Manok Lechon. At syempre po, at sang Super Manok Lechon din ang ating official na nag-i-sponsor po ng chicken oil doon po sa ating kusinera ng bagong milenyo kay Ate J. Ayun, all the Mindanao po, the heart of Davao City. Ayun, taga ron pala si Mambing. Paano nyo po nakilala si Kaagila Magas Gakusara? Kasi Iligan City daw siya. Iligan, dito na siya sa may parting norte, sabi niya. I mean, all the way, the heart of Davao. Okay. Uy, nanonood sa atin yung ating katropa, si Pep Messina, na taga dyan po sa Kamuning sa Quezon City. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Pep. Kamusta na ba? Gwapong-gwapo ka ngayon. Nakita ko ang photo mo doon sa iyong profile. Mr. Pep Messina. Ito po si Pep Messina, katropa natin taga Kamuning sa Quezon City. Ito po ang pinakamatikas doon, pinakamatigas. Si Pep Messina. Okay mga kaibigan, alas 6:02 ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time. May tuloy-tuloy tayo. Ako pa rin ang inyong kasama. Kwentuhan, ka-jamming, ka-TFC Rosel Lopez. Siyempre sa ating kabilang side, ang ating technical engineer, si Joshua Baltao. Okay mga kaibigan, ngayon ay tutunghay natin sa inyo naman yung ginawa pong Pandesal Forum dyan po sa Kamuning din. Malapit sa inyo to, Peps Messina. Yung Kamuning Bakery. Alam mo siguro to, dahil hindi po pwedeng di mo alam to. Doon sa may lugar mo, yung bahay mo, pag dinire-diretso mo yun, ang tagus nun doon Tama ba ako, Pep Messina? Mga kaibigan, at ayun, sabi pa ni Mambing, out na po ko na. Ako, pasok na ako. God bless. Okay, Mambing, salamat. At kahit sa sandali, nakasilip ka man lang. Salamat po sa inyong pagsubaybay. Okay, so tayo nga mga kaibigan, tulad sinasabi natin, yung ginawa pong forum ay tungkol po doon sa Ilocos Norte, kung saan nga po yung lagay ng kanilang tourism, yung paano sila nakarecover ang Ilocos Norte. Siyempre po, kinapanayan po dito ay wala pong iba kundi si Ilocos Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc. Siya po ang governor po kasi ng Ilocos Norte na kung saan nga po ay anak po ito ng ating senadora na si Senator Amy Marcos. Okay, sa mga kaibigan, huwag na natin patagalin. Tunghayin natin sa inyo para malaman natin. Kasi, alam nyo, nag-pandemic, maraming negosyong bumagsak, nagsara, at marami rin mga empleyadong nawala. Well, alam nyo, ang Ilocos Norte, isa ho yan. Dito sa Pilipinas na mayroong mga beautiful spots, pinakamagandang pasyalan, lalo na ng mga turista, maging Pinoy man, nandyan po ang mga magagandang mga beaches sa Ilocos Norte. At hindi lang ho yun. Yung mga special na pagkain tulad ng kanilang empanada, Ilocos Empanada, nandyan ang kanilang bagnet, nandyan ang kanilang Ilocos Longganisa. Marami pong produkto dyan po sa Ilocos Norte na talaga namang maipagmamalaki po na ultimo ang banyaga, mga banyaga ay talaga namang nagugustuhan po. Okay, sa mga kaibigan, huwag natin patagalin, tunghay po natin at ito ay pinangunahan ni Sir Wilson Flores ng Pandesal Forum ng Kamuning Bakery. Panoorin natin.
Hello? Wilson, mag-hang po ba?
More known as forum because we'll focus on economy. Plus, aside from our media friends, we have invited some business leaders here, Mr. Governor Manotoc. I'd like to acknowledge before we start the presence of Ambassador Joey Antonio. He's the founder of Century Properties Group, one of the best real estate groups in the country. Also, Mr. Michael Tan, he is the Vice President of the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Inc., FFCCCII. Also the President of LT Group, the Lucia Tan Group. He's also here. Thank you for joining us. Let us I'll introduce si Governor Matthew Manotoc. Before he became very dynamic governor of Ilocos Norte, Governor Matthew Manotoc was an athlete in his youth, very good in sports, and also studied at Claremont McKenna College in the US. He studied BS Psychology and then studied sports management at UCLA, University of California in Los Angeles, and then took up management development also at the Asian Institute of Management, AIM, and also studied about government management at University of the Philippines in Diliman, and also took an executive course in agriculture development at the Mariano Marcos State University. He was local legislator before and now governor of Ilocos Norte. To talk about Ilocos Norte, the province up there in northern Luzon, and his plans, let us welcome Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc. Welcome, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Wilson. Thank you for having me. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng mga kasama natin. Good morning. Thanks for joining, especially to my dear friend Mike, who is here. I hope to hear from you later, Mike, and thanks again.
Hey, Gov.
Okay, Sir Wilson.
Yes, Governor.
Sir Wilson, take it away po, if you like.
Yes, you can. People are asking if they could record. You are free to record this session. And Governor, you'd like to give your opening statement?
Hi, good morning once again to everyone. I just want to thank you for hosting me here at the Pandesal Forum, which I've seen many times on Facebook. And of course, I've met Sir Wilson in the past, and he's always been a friend of the family, one that we appreciate. So happy to be here and looking forward to a fruitful discussion.
I think you will have a presentation about the economy of Ilocos Norte, Governor.
Sorry, I sent you the presentations, but I don't have my laptop kasi on me now. But
sige. No problem.
Yeah. I'm just using my phone because it's okay.
Yes.
But
no problem.
But I can walk you through.
Yes. What are the main industries of Ilocos Norte, Governor?
Well, currently, Sir Wilson, our main industries are, of course, agriculture and tourism. Agriculture, we're an agricultural province, much like most provinces in the Philippines. We're the top producer in the country for garlic. Also for shallots, we're one of the top producers. We're also known for our dragon fruit, our mangoes, our tomatoes, even avocado is an industry that I'd like to explore and expand. So there there are many agricultural surpluses in Ilocos Norte, and I think that's a ripe opportunity, pardon the pun, for a investment in product processing, because that's where I see our province is still behind, in terms of mechanization, in terms of product processing and agribusiness. So these are areas that I'd really like to move towards, because I see that we are missing out on the value adding component, the supply chain, the value chain. We're still stuck in the first phase of production, much like the rest of the Philippines. So we hope to invite, investors and businessmen to help us transition to the second and third phases, especially in terms of processing these agricultural goods. For tourism, of course, I think we're known maybe not as a primary destination in the Philippines, but maybe a secondary destination. People know us for our sand dunes, of course, the only sand dunes in the Philippines. Our windmills, of course, along the bay that are very beautiful. Saud Beach in Pagudpud was recently named the top 25, one of the top 25 most beautiful beaches in the world by Travel and Leisure. The only Philippine beach to make the list. So there are a ton of investment opportunities in the tourism sector, but of course we know that hospitality has been down for a few years. Simultaneously, we do see it as an opportunity to perhaps acquire land and maybe resorts that aren't functioning as well as they once were. In fact, my background here is Manotoc Island. It is a private virgin island, as you can see, white sand beach and blue waters. That's actually being sold for
How big is
undisclosed
Manotoc
amount,
Island?
but
How
it's
big is
36
Manotoc?
hectares. 36 hectares, and it's being sold for the asking price right now is 180 million. So we'd really like to sell it to a luxury resort developer. Someone who will build something responsibly and something medyo high end. That's our hope for the island. Of course, another industry we're known for is the renewable industry, especially, as I mentioned, the wind power, but also solar power. Hopefully, when we can welcome you to Ilocos Norte, you can feel the Ilocos sun is too strong, and that's why we have renewable energy. In addition, the good senator and former governor Aimee opened up 2 BPOs in Accenture and Alorica. So that's also a space that we'd like to intensify, of course, the BPO and IT industry. And I'd also like to reopen responsible mining. I think it seems that we have quite rich resources, and I think we can strike the balance in terms of responsible mining in Ilocos Norte. So there are many investment opportunities, and if you come and visit, you'll see that our place is safe, peaceful, clean. The infrastructure is very sound. Everyone comments on how our roads are very smooth, and the people are highly educated. Most Ilocanos are college graduates. We have an elite university in Mariano Marcos State University. We have a DOH hospital in Mariano Marcos Memorial Hospital. So I'd like to think that our institutions are in place, and we're well equipped to welcome investors and businesses.
Thank you, Governor. People are asking, since last time, they were asking some media friends, is Ilocos Norte already open for tourism since we are now in alert level 2 in Metro Manila? Are you open now for, how could people go to your place, or what are the requirements?
Yes, Sir Wilson. In fact, we were one of the first to open. I think that was 2 years ago, in 2020. We were one of the first to open in Luzon with the help of Secretary Berna. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was November 2020. So, the first year of COVID, we already opened. Even now, po, though we are under alert level 3, which is not really cause for concern. It's mostly because our Omicron surge was delayed, compared to Manila. Manila was first, and we followed. So our cases aren't very high, but of course, with the increase, we were categorized as alert level 3. But tourism is open. We've been open, and we will not close. In fact, we passed an ordinance to basically pay for the antigen tests of tourists. So if you book for 2 nights or more, we'll be the ones to pay for the antigen test. So it's not a bother. And we have a tourism center to welcome you at the border. And this does not look like a border. Maayos naman po. It's, hospitable and welcoming. And, that we've seen an influx of tourists recently. And we have much, much more to offer than just, what is known to most. And I always like to say that we're far, but we're worth it. There's so much to see. You can, I always say you need to spend at least 4 days to see everything. New sites, including this one, Badok Island. You can take a boat to Badok Island. We have Solsona Apayao, which is called Sea of Clouds. It's very reminiscent of an undeveloped Baguio. So beautiful mountain range and campsite or glamping. There are a ton of sites that are, I'd say, under the radar. Hikes as well to waterfalls. Even Curimao is another town that's opened up, which is actually the same town where there's a seaport, under the P.A. of the national government. So, everyone who visits is quite happy, and there's a sense of sayang that we can really do so much here, and they really enjoy themselves. And then, of course, we're quite known for our vibrant orange empanada with, of course, longanisa inside, and the bagnet, of course, with the KBL sauce na kailangan. And we also have our pinakbet pizza with bagoong sauce, which sounds strange, but I promise it's delicious.
Thank you, Governor. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Henry Limbonyon. He's the president of Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Inc., FFCCCII. Mr. Michael Tan is the vice president of that nationwide organization. And also Ambassador Joey Antonio, one of the top developers in the Philippines. But there's a question here, somebody from media asking, Ilocos Norte is known to have an international airport since years ago. Is it still operational now after the COVID crisis worldwide? What do you see about the airport's future?
Yes, thanks, Sir Wilson. Actually, I've been working closely with PAL because Philippine Airlines is the only remaining carrier that flies through Lawag Airport. They're flying twice a week now. It used to be twice a day, honestly, before COVID, but it has decreased since. But I'm working with PAL to, hopefully lower the rates, work on a marketing partnership so we can boost the that flight. But yes, Lawag International Airport is very much functional. It's perhaps better than many other airports that are more famous. And we are looking forward to hopefully welcoming some international flights soon. And we're in the process of upgrading the airport as well. And we also have, as I mentioned, an international seaport in Curimao. And I'd also like to emphasize that Ilocos Norte is not that far. When you take a flight, it's about 45, 50 minutes. And if you drive, you can make it in about 6 to 8 hours. Gone are the days when it's, I think they used to say 10 or 12. Yeah.
Your sound? Nawala sound ni Governor? Your sound? Is your sound okay? Yes. Okay na? Sound ni Governor? Is it okay na? Narinig ba? Baka signal niya.
Hello?
Ayun,
Guys,
okay
is
na.
it,
Okay na.
better?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Better now. Better now.
Sorry about that. But yes, with the establishment of T.P.A., you can get there in about 6 to 8 hours. And we have a tourism partnership with La Union, with Gov. Pacoy Ortega. And you can also stop in San Juan, in Surf Town. Since it's roughly halfway to Ilocos Norte. So it's a good halfway stop.
There's many tourists also from Balikbayans, I think. I heard, is it true, 80% of Filipinos in Hawaii are Ilocanos? I heard that worldwide.
Yes, Sir Wilson. I don't know the exact stat, but I would not be surprised because it seems like most Ilocanos, at least those in Ilocos Norte, do have relatives in Hawaii, and in fact, the Honolulu-Manila route is what sustains the Manila to Lawag route because it's it's their transfer.
Maybe you can, Mr. Mike Tan he's here about the PAL plans in the future, no? And especially the opening of the economy. What are your views about the opening of the economy? 2 days ago, Secretary Joy Concepcion, Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, said he has heard from Octa Research our economy might go back to normal maybe March or April with the infection going away na of the pandemic. And are you optimistic about the whole economy opening soon based on the numbers lowering and all that?
Yeah, I think cautiously optimistic. I think we're seeing, the American stock market plummeting this year. So there's cause for concern, not just COVID, of course, and geopolitical issues. But I think in terms of COVID, things are looking much, much better, of course. And I think, we have to dance with the virus, right? Maybe not live with it because that sounds like we're ignoring it, but we have to dance with it and, take a page from Western countries like Europe and America. I mean, obviously, hopefully not to that extreme because I think they also overdid it. But we have to open up. Omicron is not that bad. I had it a few weeks ago. I was asymptomatic. So long as we're vaccinated, we're masked, we're distanced, we try to stay outdoors. We must continue business. We must continue our lives as we know it.
How are you? How did you recover from the COVID? I read also in the news that you got hit by Omicron. How many days were you down or quarantined?
Yeah, so I did the full isolation, which is prescribed by DOH, which is 7, but I ended up having to do 2 more because of my exposure. So I did 9 days at home. It was I was getting a bit restless after that amount of time, but I didn't feel anything. So it's quite surmountable, this Omicron variant. So I think hopefully the fear levels are not where they once were. I know I, for one, was very paranoid about COVID, and I'm actually very relieved that now I got it. So at least no more fearing the unknown.
There's a question here from Anvil Business Club Honorary Chairman Hubert Chua. He's from Ilocos Norte. I have to read the question. He has a question here.
Yeah, si Hubert,
Uh,
kaibigan natin yan.
yes,
Hi,
he's an admirer of
Governor.
your family. He has a question. Sabi niya, Hubert, would you like to read your question or?
Yeah, I think I'd like to ask Governor to comment on the BPOs. We have actually BPOs in Ilocos Norte giving I think thousands of heads, right? It was a project by Senator Ivy before. We have Accenture and Alorica. Do you have some statistics on those?
Right, in terms of what, Hubert? Good morning, thanks for the question.
Yeah, the how many people they actually and are employing right now?
I don't have the exact number, but I would presume it's at least a couple thousand. No? In fact, I recall during COVID, they had a few outbreaks. And one of the issues, as you know, in Ilocos is connectivity. So, the call center agents actually weren't able to work outside of the office or work from home. So they had to bring them back in. So, yeah, we have those two. We're looking at other options as well, and not just limited to the voice services, right? Because we know that a lot of these non-voice services are actually the growth services, right? Especially with regard to IT and cloud servicing and the like, and kind of back office, back end services. So I'm very open to expanding this area, and in fact, we worked with the DICT recently to establish Ilocos Norte as a smart province. So we have our roadmap. Everything has been updated, and we look forward to welcoming those in the IT sector for possible investment or expansion.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Mr. Hubert Chua.
Yeah, I'd like to
Governor,
comment, no, and I'd like to commend the efforts talaga of especially the provincial government over the past decade and a half, or maybe even 2 decades. We've actually, our businesses in Ilocos have progressed very significantly. Thank you for the very progressive government, always relentless in looking for solutions for new stuff for the province, and we'd like to wish more success, because we look forward to actually having more people hopefully invest in our province.
Thanks, Hubert. Appreciate the kind words, and we need your support and partnership also. We know that the private sector is equally, if not more important than us little public officials.
Governor, you mentioned earlier about food processing. Maybe you could, in the future, invite one of the guests natin today, Mr. Kenneth Oigonco. He's the head of the leading flour mill in the Philippines, where we at Kamuning Bakery get our flour. Philippine Foremost Milling. It's the leading, it's one of the top 2 largest flour mills in the country. Very, very good quality. Mr. Kenneth Oigonco from Iloilo, the roots.
Okay.
He's here also.
Yeah.
You should ask him to give you suggestions on food processing. Since you mentioned earlier, you have a lot of food processing potentials.
Yes, we'd love to do that. As I said, that's really where I see there's a scarcity. There's a gap in terms of that type of industry, food processing, heavy industry, manufacturing. We're still lacking in that sense. And one thing I'd like to point out also, Sir Wilson, is that given we're the on the northern tip of the Luzon Island, we like to regard ourselves as the gateway to East Asia, including China, of course. And
you're on the north.
With our international airport and seaport, I think we're strategically located as a trade hub. So we look forward to opening up those opportunities when the international economy also is more activated with trade, because we know that that's a big there's somewhat of a crisis now, right, in terms of cargo and such.
Somebody wants to ask also, Mr. Bernard Burr of RMN News. Would you like to ask your question, or I would read your question? Mr. Bernard Burr of RMN News. Would you like to ask your question? I'll read your question. Sabi ni Mr. Bernard Burr of RMN News, can we have more flights into Ilocos Norte, maybe?
Good morning, everyone.
Pacific?
I would like to ask Governor Matt about the flights here in Ilocos Norte. If we can add PAL, we can add more flights like AirAsia or Cebu Pacific Gov, please.
Yeah, Bernard, I've been working on it. This is one of the first issues I tried to address as governor. I reached out to Cebu Pacific. I reached out to Sir Mikey, Kong Mikey Romero of AirAsia, since we know that both of them were flying to Luwag once upon a time. But obviously with COVID, that complicated things with the down economy as well. However, I'd like to give credit to PAL. I think my good friend Mike is here. I've been working with PAL quite closely. They've agreed to lower the rates. PAL has agreed to lower the rates of the flight, and they've agreed to add a third flight weekly. So as I said, we used to have almost 2 flights a day, and now we're at 2 flights a week. So at least one more flight, a round trip a week would help, and that would bring the total to 3 a week, which would be Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. But
Right, thank
Bernard,
you,
I'll continue working on it. Trust me, it's top of mind. It's been an early goal of mine to get another airline back to Luwag, but the travel industry is obviously struggling.
Yes, go. Thank you so much. Back to you, Sir Wilson.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Bernard Burr of RMN News. There's a question here from Miss Barbara May Dakanay of Gulf News. Miss Barbara May Dakanay of Gulf News. Would you like to ask your question?
Yeah.
Sabi ni Miss Barbara May, yes.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. My question is, Ilocos used to be known as a place where it's hard to grow, green things. So I'm just interested because you mentioned a lot of agricultural products being grown there. Can you tell us a history of the greening of Ilocos Norte? How did it begin? I mean, what technology have you employed to help farmers grow their products?
Yes, Ma'am Barbara, you're completely right. The Ilocano soil and landscape is quite arid. So it's an uphill battle, but our farmers, of course, have that trademark Ilocano diligence, and they find ways. But irrigation has been one of our primary problems, and we've been addressing this through several means, of course, working with NIA, the National Irrigation Association, but at the same time working directly with our farmers for SFR, small farm reservoirs, and sweeps, small water impounding projects that go a long way to improve the irrigation that is needed. Also, for the fertility of our soil, we have engaged in soil restoration through organic fertilizer. So we're pushing and continuing to shift towards more organic fertilizers, because I think this is the case also nationally. Much of our soil is becoming quite dead, in fact, and the nutritional content is very low. So, we're pushing our farmers to work toward, we continue to give them organic fertilizers, sprayers, and the inputs that they need to ensure that our soil is still healthy and they have the irrigation that they need. And for agriculture specifically, I made it a point to work with my team and to work with the farmers to make sure that we're full service. So whatever the farmer may need, whether it be the seeds or whether it be the fertilizer, since we know for the prices of fertilizers are have increased rapidly, very alarming, or even until the marketing phase, warehousing, processing, drying, transportation, and finding a buyer for them. So in fact, we're about to establish an agricultural hotline where our farmers can call us at any time with any requests. And of course, we will do our best to cater to all of them. So we made it a point that any assistance that our farmers need will be here for them. And we continue to encourage them to shift the HVCs to high value crops because we see, of course, that the price of palay has seemingly plummeted and does not show any signs of recovery. So, Ilocos Norte is 300% almost rice self-sufficient. And this used to be something that we would brag about because we produce 3 times more rice than we consumed. But, in this market, of course, with the low prices of palay, it's a blessing and a curse and a crisis, honestly, for our province. It's a problem. So we encourage our farmers to shift already to high value crops where they can garner a better profit, of course.
Yeah. A follow-up.
Yes.
With regards to agriculture, the law on how to manage the 75 billion coconut levy fund was signed last February 2021. And since you said that you don't want to be monocrop but multi-cropping in agriculture, is Ilocos Norte taking advantage of this kind of assistance being given to coconut farmers? And how big is the coconut plantations in Ilocos?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am Barbara. Actually, it's good you're reminding me of something I was supposed to do. But with all of these problems, things get sidetracked. We've been in touch with the PCA. But I think last year the PCA even established a new plantation in Pagudpud. Most of the northern towns are the ones with the coconuts. They're obviously coastal, Pagudpud, Bangi, and even Dumalneg has very sweet coconuts. So we'd like to work with the PCA. Obviously, we know how versatile and how valuable coconuts can be. And obviously, given our terrain and landscape and us being in the tropics, it's quite ideal. So currently, I don't have the data for our coconut plantation, but I know it's still very small. It's almost I don't want to say negligible, but it's surely not commercial, our coconut industry. But it is one that I see lots of potential in. There's lots of land also that is available for coconuts.
Another follow-up, sorry, it's agricultural.
Yes.
Before, during an interview with Bongbong Marcos, he mentioned something like ampalaya, and I'm surprised you never mentioned the ampalaya, no, which is the favorite of the Ilocanos. And he said before that ampalaya is being used to make green tea ice cream. If that's true, please say yes. And if but my other question for that is, why can't we just call it ampalaya ice cream?
Maybe the marketing component will suffer. I'm not sure how many people would like ampalaya ice cream, given how bitter it is. But to be honest, ampalaya, of course, it's a staple, no? It's part of our pinakbet. So, of course, ampalaya will always be present. Maybe not a crowd favorite necessarily. I haven't heard of green tea or ampalaya ice cream. I know the ice cream that we have locally is dragon fruit ice cream because we are one of the top producers of dragon fruit in the country, if not the top, in fact. So that's actually another crop that we'd like to intensify because we know, of course, that it's quite in demand in East Asian countries as well, dragon fruit, and it's known as a superfruit. One fruit that I'm passionate about, which I think I mentioned earlier, is avocado. Though I think those who have traveled know that avocado is seen as savory food. But sa kultura po natin, mas alam yung anong tawag dun, parang ice shake, no, avocado. So I'd like to, hopefully grow the avocado industry so that it can be better appreciated because lots of avocado in Ilocos Norte actually goes to waste because it's not bought or sold commercially. And then lastly, the good Senator Aimee and our former governor has been focusing on malunggay. So we're pushing malunggay as well. We have actually an FDA-approved company in Pidig, the small town of Pidig in Ilocos Norte. It's called the Aiden Moringa. So we'd like to continue pushing towards the commercialization of malunggay or moringa because, it's a superfood and it's quite easy to grow. So we see that as somewhat of a low-hanging fruit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Barbara Mida Kanay and Governor. There's a very interesting and delicious questions about food and healthy. There's a question here from Mr. Michael Abaro of ABS-CBN would like to ask question. Would you like to personally ask your question about mining? Mr. Michael Abaro
Yes,
of
sir. Yes,
ABS-CBN.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Wilson. Can you hear me? There we go. Okay.
Yes. Welcome.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Governor, what do you mean? You mentioned earlier, you said that you were open to responsible mining. What do you mean by responsible mining, and what kind of resources are available to mine in Ilocos Norte in the first place? Also, how much do you expect in terms of revenue from this potential industry?
Morning, Michael. Thanks for the question. It's obviously quite a convoluted topic, which, to be honest, I'm not an expert in. But there was gold mining in the past, Hercules mining in Ilocos Norte, and we have had multiple indications and studies that have shown that we do have precious metals, copper ore, for example, in Ilocos Norte. So this needs to be explored more. We're still in the nascent stages of such, but we've been welcoming investors for explorations of sorts to assess the actual levels. With regard to responsible mining, obviously the best practices that don't affect the environment. Ilocanos are very one of the proudest, one of my favorite traits of Ilocanos is that they're very environmentally responsible and very eco-conscious. I think this is a product of living off the land, which Barbara mentioned earlier is very arid. So we've learned to rely on to protect and to harness the land. And that will not be sacrificed in Ilocos Norte, even if we do welcome mining companies. I will ensure that our environment is not compromised, given the fact that we're known as a green province, one of the renewable capitals, of course, of the country.
I see. May I have a follow-up question? So that means, would that mean no open pit mining, Governor?
Yes, of course. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's a national law already, right? But certainly no open pit mining, no questionable or damaging practices. We'd like to be as strict as possible in protecting our environment.
I see. Another follow-up question last. Could you please tell us is it okay for you to tell us who are the investors that are already looking into exploring the potential precious metals and other resources that could be gotten from Ilocos Norte?
Let's just say we've tried to invite the biggest players. Some have already visited. We have one that is already moving towards setting up a factory. So I'll not disclose, but for their sake. But we do have a committed mining investor for Ilocos Norte.
I see. Is there a timeline for that factory, sir?
Yeah, probably this year. We're trying to establish the land for them, and I think they're looking to start setting up this factory this year.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Michael Abaro of ABS-CBN. And very good news pala, Governor Manotoc, for another industry, no, for your province. There's a question here from about one of the most famous tourist attractions. I remember when I was there with some friends before years ago, are the places connected to your famous grandfather, like the birthplace, the place where he stayed. Do you have restoration project for all the places related to the late President Marcos? Like where he was born, where he studied, grade school, and do you have a special tour for that, Governor?
Yes.
I think he's
Sir Wilson.
one of the most famous attractions, tourist attractions international.
Correct. I haven't heard about it, but there was a Marcos Trail before where you could basically follow his footsteps from Sarat, where he was born, to Batak, of course, which is our home city, and then further on towards Lawag, of course, is the provincial capital. But yes, what we would call the mausoleum is where my grandfather used to be laid to rest, but obviously he has since been transferred. Actually, that posed a bit of a problem for us and with our fellow Bataqueños, those from Batak, because that was the main tourist attraction for the town.
Yes.
It's the second and only other city in the province, but obviously it was known as the home of my lolo, and most people would go to see him. So now we're building an eco park, which was actually supposed to be in his memory in the mountains of Batak. So we're trying to find new ways to bring tourists to Batak, and our museums, of course, are still there. The PGIN museums, which focus on my grandfather, and of course, across from our ancestral home is the empanadaan, which is the street food experience of Batak empanada, because Batak is the home of the empanada. So it's a terrific street food experience. You can see them cook it. You can cook it yourself. You can see exactly what goes in, and enjoy the crispy empanada with ketchup and sukang Iloco. I promise you, it's a strange combo, but it's very delicious because you get all the flavors at once: sweet, salty, sour, everything.
Governor, aside from your grandfather, there's Juan Luna. I think he was born in Badoc, sabi ni Hubert Chua. That Badoc Island, is that the birthplace of Juan Luna, the very famous painter?
Correct, the brothers, the painter, and then of course General Luna, of course. The two brothers, the two famous brothers, are both from Badoc. So Badoc is our southernmost
the
town.
beach behind you?
Yes, this is this is Badoc Island, because it's an island just off the coast of Badoc, but it's included as Badoc. And Badoc
Ah,
is our
wow.
southernmost town, which is also our border town. So if you're driving from Manila or if you're driving from
Yes.
Sur, the first town you'll hit is Badoc. And
Wow.
as you mentioned, this island is also part of Badoc, where the brothers are from.
Also, Secretary Mark Villar's wife is related to Gregorio Aglipay, another hero of your province. Do you have a museum to him? Gregorio Aglipay, I read he's a very famous son of Ilocos Norte. You have many famous heroes from your province.
Yes,
For
yes.
tourism.
Aglipay is part of the, pantheon or the Hall of Fame of Ilocos Norte. We don't have a tourism museum in his honor specifically, but he obviously established a church, which still thrives until today. Another one I'd like to mention is Teofilo Ildefonso, who was a two-time bronze medalist in the Olympics.
Olympics.
And
Yes.
known as the father of the modern backstroke, father of the modern breaststroke, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And he hailed from Ilocos Norte as well. Dig, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Very interesting. Huh? So you have a lot of tourism potentials with all this. There's a question here also. I'll read the question from some other media friends. Mr. Mark Nilo Odiaman of Filipino Mirror newspaper said, Ilocos region was once a haven for shooting for international movie productions from Hollywood and also famous Filipino movies. Mark Nilo Odiaman is a photojournalist. He said, we used to shoot in the desert, like the sand dunes of Hawaii, La Paz, Pasukin, the ruins of Sarat, Dingras, etc. Do you plan to invite movie and TV projects to again go and shoot in your province? Mr. Mark Nilo Odiaman of Filipino Mirror newspaper.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, good morning po. Yes, of course. In fact, it has not stopped. Even, I think it was in 2019, ABS-CBN shot their famous series. I think it was Bagani, featuring
yes.
Enrique and Liza. So the shooting continues. Many movies have been set there, General Luna. Then, of course, in the sand dunes, we have our statues of FPJ, no, ang Panday, I think it is, and Nora Honor's Himala sa Buhangin.
Yes.
So, even international and Hollywood films have been shot in the sand dunes, and Senator Aimee, then governor, set up a media incentives desk, which is basically single-handedly responsible for facilitating, welcoming, subsidizing productions, any sort of shoots, whether it be movies, series, photography, fashion, beauty. So we continue to welcome those in the creative industry to Ilocos Norte because we know that what we have to offer is quite unique.
Thank you for that from Mark Nilo Odiaman. There's a question here from Ms. Edith Dichao. What are good opportunities for foreign investors in Ilocos Norte? And she said, yes, I agree. Governor, your empanada in Ilocos Norte is great. From Ms. Edith Dichao.
Thanks. Well, I think, we discussed the ones earlier in terms of tourism, many beautiful resorts, even, raw, beautiful land that is available, coastal, like this one behind me in Badoc Island is for sale. Many tourism opportunities, hospitality, hotels, resorts, restaurants, and agriculture, of course, as we mentioned, is very strong in Ilocos Norte. And I think we also have investment opportunities, as I mentioned, in our ports, both our Luwag International Airport and Curimao International Seaport. So there are a ton of opportunities, and as I said, thankfully our province is quite peaceful, orderly, and our people are highly educated. So hoping to welcome any potential investors. Wilson, you can share my number directly, since I know that
yes.
you're trustworthy. You have my
Yes.
number, and we even
Yes.
have an entire office. It's called Invest, capital IN to denote Ilocos Norte, and that office specifically caters, attracts, markets, and welcomes and facilitates potential investors. So we'd be very happy to welcome you, arrange your trip, and even obviously provide you data and to make sure that everything is set even before your trip.
Thank you very much for that question about foreign investors from Miss Edith Dichow. May tanong here from Miss Chona Galvez. A comment. He said, yes, we have very good Aglipay Shrine and also the birthplace of Revolutionary General Artemio Ricarte. And also Hubert Chua said the lady in the 1,000 peso bill, the hero of World War II heroine, also from Ilocos Norte.
Yes, I think
the
that's
founder of the Girl Scouts.
Right, Ma'am
Yes.
Escoda. Yeah, the founder of the Girl Scouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all these are very good tourism resources for you. You can have museums and tours. Somebody asking here, how similar and different are you from former Governor Aimee and former Governor Bongbong? Can you please describe them as leaders? Why is your uncle so popular? Can you please explain why your uncle is so popular nationwide? Your family name now? Why do you think?
Well, allow me to address the first question. How are we
Yes.
different? Well,
And the same?
yeah,
Different and the same.
Firstly, I'm much younger.
Yes.
Obviously, given that my mom is my mom, but
Yes.
I obviously look up to them and try to adopt their best practices. For example, with my uncle Bong, I really admire the fact that he doesn't engage in any vitriol or mudslinging, despite what is thrown at him. And
Yes.
for my mom, well, I've seen firsthand, of course, how hard she works. Also, how modest she is as a person, how approachable she is. She's able to communicate with any Filipino from any walk of life, and I think that trait, her being so down to earth, is what has endeared my mother to many. With regard to my uncle Bong, well, allow me first to speak to the solid north and what I've seen in the Ilocos Norte. And as I first came in, since I'm still pretty much a newbie, a Johnny come lately, it really puzzled me. It was quite stunning, obviously pleasantly stunning, that we were so beloved in the province, and I never quite understood why. But having lived there, obviously, and having served in the province, I now see primarily it's a result of the Ilocano pride. Ilocanos are very, very proud people, and a son of Ilocos Norte and a son of Ilocandia. We call Ilocandia, the Ilocos region, Ilocandia, not just Ilocos Norte. Rose to the so-called highest position in the nation, and never turned his back on the province or the region, and he contributed greatly to the development of the area, and of course to the betterment of the lives of the people. And so I think Ilocanos appreciate our loyalty to them in return. And how we try to carry ourselves very simply. We try to listen to them always, and we try to do what's best for Ilocos Norte. And Well, regarding the country, it's quite overwhelming, to be honest. As my mom always says, we were used to being in the opposition. We were used to being not favored. So times have changed, and perhaps many are growing nostalgic of yesteryears, and maybe have seen also the track record of my uncle and my mother, and I guess they've taken fondly to it, and we deeply appreciate it. And I'm hoping for the best for my uncle, of course, because I know that his heart is truly in the right place. He's well qualified, and I know that he can do much good for the country.
Thank you, Governor Matthew. There's a comment here from Miss Edith Bichao. Thanks for your answer. She said, not only empanada of Ilocos Norte is very good, you also have the famous putok, batok bagnet, and the garlic cornix, she said.
Of course,
she likes
cornic.
those. And,
crowd favorite ang cornic.
And sabi pa ni Edith Bichao daw, you forgot to mention daw, sabi niya, BBM is guapo and your mother, Aimee, is kalog. Edith Bichao said, your mother was in our university, I think UP ito. We were all dressed up, but she came in with white t-shirt and blue jeans and jeans. Your mother daw, sabi ni Miss Edith Bichao. Schoolmate pala of your mom, this businesswoman.
Yeah, my mom is a very simple person, and I think
white t-shirt and jeans now, they were all dressed up now in the university. Sabi niya.
Yeah, my mother is a very simple person, and I think that's one of the things I appreciate the most. That given all that she's been through, all that she's achieved, she's remained modest and humble.
What is your dream for Ilocos Norte? Your hope for Ilocos Norte after pandemic, and your plans? What are your hopes for the economy?
Sir Wilson, well, of course, we can't turn our back on the twin powerhouse industries of agriculture and tourism, as well as basic services like health and education and transportation. But for me, it's fitting that I'm here because really my main focus is on attracting investment, creating jobs, and the development and modernization of our province. And I know it'll be a slow and perhaps painful process, but I also do think that we're on the right track. And if we continue, we'd like to make Ilocos Norte the main or premier investment hub in the North Philippines. So we'll continue to work towards that. I do believe we're well situated. As mentioned, we are the gateway to East Asia. We have our ports, and the infrastructure is in place. We have to work on certain things like connectivity, perhaps training, but we will get there. And we hope to invite everyone to join us on this path. And I'll personally make sure that our investors and our businessmen who come to the province are happy.
Thank you, Governor. You mentioned about transportation. The government recently approved the plan to rebuild the train from Metro Manila all the way to Bicol. Are there plans to build a train from Metro Manila all the way to Ilocos Norte? Is that feasible, or would you want to see that?
I'd love to,
modern
Sir Wilson. I've heard of that plan, but I think it was more of a rumor and not a governmental plan. So I think it's unconfirmed. Thus far, it seems like the priority is to extend T.P.A, which now ends in La Union, all the way to Lawag, if I'm not mistaken. So that will be a great help for all of us if we're able to extend T.P.A all the way to Ilocos Norte po.
So it could shorten the travel time.
Furthermore, yes.
Yes. Thank you. I'd like to ask Dr. Henry Lim, baka he'd like to react or talk. Dr. Henry Lim Bonlyong, he told me yesterday he admires your family. He wants to hear about Ilocos Norte. Can we invite Dr. Henry Lim Bonlyong? Where is he?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Wilson.
Yes. President of the Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Maybe you have a comment or a question for Governor Matthew?
Governor Matthew, I'm surprised now that you really knows a lot about your home province, and yeah, and of course I think you're Western educated, and of course my wife is also a Ilocano. She hails from Apari, Cagayan. She speaks very fluent Ilocano. Jai Jai, when after so many years. That's the only word that I learned. But then we, even as Chinese Filipinos, so we really admire the Ilocanos for very hardworking, and also, that's why in Mindanao you can find a lot of Ilocanos, and also in Hawaii we also find a lot of Ilocanos, and I really admire the Ilocanos. That's why I have an Ilocana also as my wife. But then again, I really have nothing to ask you, but I know that you are doing a very, very fine job in Ilocos, and I'm looking forward to having you again as governor. Again, more power to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Henry. We really appreciate the kind words, and hoping to work with you and your organization in terms of not only how you can help Ilocos, but of course how we can also welcome and help you and your business. Thank you, Paul.
By the way, I'm also, of course, a good friend of your mom, and I just would like to tell you a little, anecdote. What happened? I think it was during your is it your wedding in Ilocos at one time?
My brother's wedding.
It's a brother.
Oh, it's your brother.
I'm still single. I'm legally single.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I mean, you look very similar, no? You're all tall and handsome, and anyway, at that time, I think I'm rushing to the airport already. It's 8 o'clock, and the flight is 8:30. And I was with your mom. We just finished dinner, and I was saying that I have to rush to the airport, otherwise I may be late for my plane. Your mom said, no, you stay. I said, why? No, you don't know I'm the governor here. I said, yes, but this is a flight, no? I may miss my flight. No, as a governor, I can always enlist 2 or 3 carabaos in the runway, and the plane will not fly. So you stay for another 5 or 10 minutes, But of course, I reached the airport just in time, for me to board. But I think that's one of the anecdotes, that your mom is very, how do you call that? I mean, very, very friendly, and also your grandmother. We used to eat lumpia, before itong pandemic na ito. This once a month in a common friend's house. So we've been missing those lumpia evenings already. But then again, we are seeing, we're looking forward that the economy will soon open, that this pandemic will soon end, and we will all go back to normal. Again, thank you. Thank you so much. I cannot refuse my chairman of media committee in the federation, Mr. Wilson Lee Flores. I really have to actually have another Zoom meeting now, but I really have to come here to listen now, and I'm very, very impressed. But at what you said, and what you know about Filipino cultures, the baknet, the whatever, the ampalayas, and all of this one. Again, more power to you, Governor Matthew. More power.
Thank you, Sir Henry. And no need to wait. Ilocos Norte is open. In fact, we also pushed workcation po, hindi staycation, but workcation. So
Wow.
people are welcome to come to Ilocos Norte and work by the beach.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Henry Limbon Leon, President of FFCCCII. Mr. Lino Robles also said he understands that Ilocanos are among the best English-speaking groups of Filipinos in the Philippines daw, sabi niya. You have one of the best English-speaking daw, sabi ni Mr. Lino Robles. Thank you for all the questions. Would like to invite you, maybe you'd like to give your closing statement. Or Ambassador Joey Antonio, baka would like to ask him to say something. Alam mo, si Ambassador Joey Antonio is not only a very, very good businessman, he's also a very good photographer. Is Ambassador Joey Antonio there? Can we invite you to talk? He's one of the best developers in the Philippines, Governor Matthew.
Well, thank you very much, Wilson, for inviting me.
Yes,
and Governor, it's a pleasure meeting you over Zoom, and quite familiar and close to your family. I say that it's very advantageous to do something in your province, particularly when you have a very hospitable and engaging leadership in the province, which is very important for any businessman, no? That they are welcome to the province that they would like to do business with, because it's really a partnership between public and private. No? If you have, we can do this in another private call. If you have any good properties that we can look at to make Ilocos a destination, not only for tourism, but for business. You're starting it already. Maybe it's about time to scale up, no? Your BPOs, your tourism attractions, and other things. No? We'll be glad to have coffee with you or visit you again. I was there a few years ago on the invitation of your mom. So we're looking forward because we have a nationwide growth plan. We have an expansion plan. We're in 15 locations already, and we're looking forward to expand our network further. Thanks a lot, Wilson, again, and I'm always free for a call, Governor, anytime.
Thank you, Ambassador. I think we actually bumped into each other once with my mom a few years back at a restaurant in BGC, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, we'd love to welcome you, or I can even see you in Manila when I'm in town. And actually, I'd also like to make mention of the incentives that we provide. We actually have a waiving of our real property tax on behalf of the provincial government for new large investments. So we really have tried to make it as attractive as possible and to incentivize financially and non-financially all investors to the province. So looking forward to chatting with you, and congratulations on your success. Good morning, po. Thanks.
Morning, Governor. Just get my number from your mom, and when you're in Manila, I'll be happy to host you. And Wilson, please join us.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I'll give your number to Governor, Ambassador.
Yes, please. Thank you.
He's not only a very good businessman, Governor, he's a very, very good photographer. You should invite him to take pictures of your beaches. He's a
yes,
he's super talented. May exhibit pa siya ng photo.
Salamat,
Thank you, Ambassador Joey Antonio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Barbara Maida Canay of Gulf News has a follow-up question about tourism, Governor. Sabi ni Barbara Maida Canay, do you have flight plans for Ilocos Norte as gateway to Taiwan, to China, Japan, North Korea? to East Asia.
Sir
Yes.
Wilson, we used to, and to Barbara, of course, who posed the question, we used to have flights from Taiwan and from China. In fact, I think we even had one from Hong Kong at some point, but I think this stopped due to some diplomatic issues, of course, between the two nations. One, I guess I could say, deciding factor is also the closure of Fort Ilocos Casino. Fort Ilocos, the hotel, remains open though. And I'd also like to make mention of our newest site, which is the Poway Lake Water Park, which is an inflatable island. Looks like a bouncy castle at one of the kids' parties, but it's a huge one on the lake. And it's a new site right below Malacanang of the North and the Filipino-Chinese garden that we have in the majestic Poway Lake. And we also established a new art installation in the Poway Sand Dunes in Suba, nearby where Senator Aimee and then Governor set up other art installations and would host our music and arts fest, Himala sa Buhangin. So we look forward to reviving these events safely, of course, amidst COVID.
Thank you very much. Yung sound nawala. Ayun, thank you. There's a question here also about the golf course. Somebody said you have a golf course in Ilocos Norte. Is it open for tourists also? Is it still operational?
Unfortunately, when the casino discontinued its operations, they were actually leasing and operating the golf course. So that has also discontinued. And if I'm not mistaken, the golf course is under the national government, under TSA. So it's a bit abandoned now, to be honest. It's a bit sad because, of course, I've heard the stories of the glory days of my grandfather playing with Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player and the like, who were all guests at the beautiful Poway Lake Golf Course. But the outline is still there. So perhaps someday we can revive it. It's a gorgeous course that's built around Poway Lake.
Thank you very much. That's somebody commented here that Ilocanos are good in English fluency, so that's possibly good for BPOs.
Yes, po. As I mentioned,
yes,
we're one of the most literate provinces in the country. Of course, having so many kamag-anak in Hawaii helps as well. So Ilocanos are very competent.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'd like to invite you to Governor to maybe give your closing statement about maybe summarizing what you've discussed today about the economic potentials of your exciting, historic, and very orderly. I could not forget when I went there, even the rural barrios are so neat. I think you Ilocanos are neat and orderly and hardworking, and because of good provincial leadership.
Right. Yes. You're right, Sir Wilson. For the most part, the Ilocanos are very responsible, as I mentioned, with the environment, with trash and such, and that's something that we're deeply grateful for. But Sir Wilson, just want to thank you again for having me here this morning, and I want to thank everyone who has joined us. Of course, Michael earlier, our ambassador, our president, and to all of the esteemed guests and attendees here. Thank you for joining us. Even those from Ilocos Norte, of course, mga kakailian ko, Diyos Tegnina. And well, I think we've covered just about everything. But of course, as I mentioned, the twin powerhouse industries of agriculture for product processing and agribusiness. We have a very strong agricultural sector, and our produce is of the highest quality. And then for tourism, of course, there's lots of land and lots of resorts that I think provide great value. And we continue to build and develop our tourism industry despite the pandemic. We regard this time as the best time to improve our facilities and our sites. And then, of course, we've talked about also the BPOs and the IT industry, which I'd like to develop further, since we know technology is the industry of the future, and responsible mining, of course, is another one that we'd like to open up safely and eco-friendly, of course. And renewable energy, of course, is one that we're already known for with our wind power and our solar farms. So many industries that I think have a great potential in Ilocos Norte. And as I said, we provide financial incentives and non-financial incentives to our new investors. And I'll personally facilitate and welcome you to Ilocos Norte. And even if you don't plan to invest, well, at least come for a nice vacation. Enjoy the beach and the sand dunes and the windmills and everything else we have to offer, like Badoc Island here behind me. So looking forward to welcoming you all to Ilocos Norte. I hope to see you soon. All the best to you all, and good morning.
Thank you. Somebody asked pala, what is your projection for economic growth of Ilocos Norte province this year now? This recovery year. The projections of your hopes?
I don't have my personal projection, but I think we're quite steady. I've seen that even our unemployment numbers have already dipped from the little spike that it had during COVID. So things are steadying. We're seeing businesses look more sustainable, in this new abnormal, I like to call it.
Thank you. Ms. Edith Dicho is asking again, what is the name of the beach behind you? I think because you mentioned it at the start of the Pandesal Forum. Can you repeat again what is the name of the beach behind you? And it's so beautiful for Ms. Edith Dicho and the others. Yes.
This is Badoc Island po, a private white sand, blue water, virgin island.
30 hectares?
Yeah, 36 hectares.
36 hectares.
The asking price right now is 180 million. So we're looking to build a luxury resort. As you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. You can take a private boat. It's quite accessible as well. Badoc Island po.
Thank you. There's a follow-up question from Mr. Eugene Assis, editor of People's Journal. Are there any new movies or TV shows planning to shoot in your province? Are there additional, or are you planning to invite? From Mr. Eugene Assis, editor of People's Journal.
Yeah, it seems like every month or so, we have someone shooting in the province. Even ang probinsyano, I recall last year, wanted to come over. We continue to welcome media and production companies. Currently, I can't think of anyone who's there right now, but we look forward to welcoming them. We provide incentives as well, as I mentioned, since Senator Amy is an avid supporter of the industry as well. So I hope that we can welcome more because, as I mentioned, our geography is so diverse and so rich and so beautiful. We have everything from the sand dunes to the white sand beach to, of course, the forest and the rolling hills and the colonial aspect too, in terms of our history and the colonial houses and such. So hope to welcome more shoots and the like soon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eugene Assis. Once again, thank you very much to very dynamic and progressive and enlightened Governor of Ilocos Norte, Governor Matthew Manotoc, Matthew Marcos Manotoc. And advance congratulations, not only for your election, but for your the economic future of your beautiful province. Thank you very much again, Governor.
Thank you, Sir Wilson. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, and thank you everyone for joining and listening to me. Have a good day.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes.
Can I ask the governor?
Yes, Dr. Henry Lim Bonlyong, yes.
Yeah, I know that you have very few irrigation in Ilocos, but then you still produce a lot of rice. Hopefully, our
Yes.
hybrid rice can double or triple. What
You
you
can
are doing,
cooperate.
and if you can really support the hybrid rice program in your province. You know, this is Mandana's law that will be effective maybe within the year. And then I think the local government has a lot of say on what kind of rice or what kind of seeds that they'll be using. And hopefully, we've been helping a lot of farmers in Region 3 and other regions, but of course, in Region 1, especially in Ilocos, we would like to, of course, seek your support on this project now. So again, thank you very much, Governor.
Yes, Sir Henry, thank you so much. Yes, we've been using hybrid rice for a while, if I'm not mistaken, thanks to Senator Aimee, and probably thanks to you also. We're here to help you in any way. Just let us know.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Henry Lim Bonlyong. Thank you once again to Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc, and thank you to our media friends and to all the business leaders and businessmen who've attended. Thank you. Sorry if I not mentioned everyone because of the time. Thank you very much again, Governor, and best wishes to you and your family.
Thank you. Take care. All the best.
Thank you very much, Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc of Ilocos Norte. At happy Chinese New Year. Forgot to nakapula ka. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our media friends. Thank you to everyone.
Ayun, mga kaibigan, napanood natin yung ginawang Pandesal Forum ng Kamuning Bakery, no? At yun, kita nyo naman talagang ang Ilocos Norte po, sabi ko nga sa inyo, ay napakagandang lugar, no? Kumpara, hindi ko naman sinasabing compare sa ibang lugar, lalawigan, pero ang Ilocos talaga naman, kita nyo, pinagsushootingan ng mga artista kahit noon pa, yung lugar ng Ilocos, no? Yung katulad ng kay Nora Honor, yung Himala, yung Panday, so marami. At katulad yan, yung tawag dito, yung dragon fruit ice cream, doon sa Ilocos. Pero ang mga natikman ko po doon sa mga produkto ng Ilocos po, yan, bagnet, longganisang Ilocos, suka, yung kanilang empanada, no, talaga namang masasarap po, no, talaga namang tsaka marami pong kita nyo yung mga sikat, no, yung mga popular, no, nandun din sa Ilocos Norte. Well, anyway, mga kaibigan, at yan po, unti-unti na nakaka-recover after ng pandemic ang Ilocos Norte, at yun nga, siyempre, hindi naman po pwedeng hindi na muling makarecover yan dahil talaga namang pupuntahan po yan ng ating mga kababayan at maging ng mga banyaga. Dahil po nandyan ang mga magagandang lugar, masasarap na pagkain, at mga kakaiba po na mga souvenir, no? Yun ang unang souvenir, lalo na yung windmill. Okay, so mga kaibigan, muli po at pansamantala kami magpapaalam muna po ni Joshua Baltao at muli po kami magbabalik bukas para sa Tuesday edition ng programang T.R.O.P.A. Sa oras na alas 7:29 ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time, bago tayo magtapos, abay maraming salamat po muna sa ating mga taga-subaybay, yung ating mga laging tumututok sa Millennial Online TV, si Ma'am Evelyn Lim, si Ma'am Bing Torres na nasa Dubai, at ganyan din si Pep Mesina ng Quezon City, si Estel Puma Man, yung ating kumpare, maraming salamat, at ganyan din sa aking kumare, kanyang asawa na si Chris Torres, no? At si Pau Pau, ayun, si Ma'am Pau Pau, magandang gabi. Maraming salamat. Sino ba to? Si Ate Bibing. Maraming salamat, Ate Bibing. At si Enad Isidro, no, yung ating katropang Coconut Man, Cocoman ng Francis Malabon. Yan. Si Enad Isidro. At siyempre yun sina Isay at saka si Isay at saka si pangalan ng isa. Yung binanggit mo, Enad, si isa, bukod kay Isay. Ayun, kay paring Estel po mama, maraming salamat at siya asawa. Siguro sabay kayo nanonood, pares kayo naka-viewing eh. Ayun, hindi kay Pep Messina at sino ba? Si Ma'am Agatha Sanchez po ng grupong The Solo Parents Philippines Incorporated. Ayan, maraming salamat. Siyempre kay Sandy Santa Maria Guerrero ng lokal ng Nabal dyan sa Malabon. No? Pinanood niya yung kay At kay Tio Edgardo Lopez, magandang gabi siya, Tio Eddie. Basta tatawagan kita minsan, busy lang ako. At kay Ate Luningning Pahayag, maraming salamat. At kay Miss Rona Ramos, maraming salamat din. Sir Haji Crespo, Ma'am Jacqueline Lagpao Adahar, Ma'am Linda Villagonza, Sir Jojo Revilla, Sir Romel Martinez, at siyempre si Sir Jeblin Sibug, at siyempre si Ma'am Digna Kahulugan. At yan din kay Mitzi, maraming salamat. At kay Jaime Santos Pahayag, yung ating reporter. Kay Ma'am Paula Pinera, no? Ng grupong Solo Parents Philippines din. At kay Bambo Garcia, maraming salamat. At sa ating katropa na si June Tirada Perer, maraming salamat si Boss June. At happy viewing. Sino ba? Yun, si Bambu at siyempre si Mang Jose, yung aking pong pamangkin na siya pong may-ari ng Super Manok Lechon na dyan po sa Siniluan, Laguna. At siyempre po sila din ang nag-sponsor ng ating ginagamit na cooking oil at chicken oil ng ating ng ating kusinera ng Bagong Milenyo. Okay, muli maraming salamat po mga kaibigan. Ako po yung naging kasama, ka-jamming, katropa, kabarangay, ka-TFC, kakosa dito po sa programang Tropa, Rosel Lopez. Magandang gabi Pilipinas at mapayapang magdamag.
Ikaw ba stress? O may dinaramdam? O gulong-gulo na talaga isip mo? Tumutok lamang at panoorin dito sa Millennial Online TV. May tuturo po ko sa inyong isang paraan upang maibsan at mabawasan niyang problemado ninyong pag-iisip. Ito ay ang Tai Chi Learning Series. Sana po tumutok po kayo at abangan niyo po kung Sabado po ng umaga yan. Dito lamang po sa Millennial Online TV. Salamat po!
Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV. Ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita.
Mga katropa, ako po si Randel Villados, ang online naranista ng bagong milenyo ng Millennial Online TV na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makikanta, makisaya, at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Ako inyong lingkod, Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa, ang inyong kabarangay dito sa Millennial Online TV. Abangan ang ating mga kaganapan dito sa ating bansa at abangan din ang panunungkol ni Kapitan sa ating Dalaw Barangay. Paano nyo kami mapapanood? I-type lamang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong Facebook at YouTube, ang Millennial Online TV. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Like, subscribe, at share na. Okay mga katropa?
Mga katropa, ako po si Gazi Sarip, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng balita sa bagong milenyo, na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na tunghayan ng aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa dito sa Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Ikaw ba'y nag-iisa? Nalulungkot dahil iniwan at ipinagpalit, niloko ng iyong minamahal. Kung ngayon, i-type sa inyong mga cellphone, Facebook o YouTube man ang Millennial Online TV. Dahil nasa Millennial Online TV na ang online haralista ng bagong milenyo, si Randel Villados.
Naninigas ang aking katawan kapag umikot ng plaka.
At haharanahin kayo ni Randel ng iba't ibang awitin para maibsan ang inyong inip at kalungkutan kahit nasaan man kayo.
Hanggang sa tumanda. Come on! Kung tayo'y matanda na, sana'y di tayo magbago.
At pwede rin kayong makiduet kay Randel tuwing Sabado ng hapon. Tutok na! Tawag na, mga milenyo!
Araw-araw ikaw ang gusto kong kasama. Buhay ko'y kumpleto na tuwing nandito ka sa tabi ko o aking giliw.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, huwag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawain bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam natin sa ating mga hapagkainan at sok pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga millennials! Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho, pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay? Narito na ang sagot, mga katropa, ang Super Manok Lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-anirize ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam mo pa at siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay nyo, mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na. Baka maabusan ka, katropa. Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalang lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sigalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dama Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
At tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at Tapos na po ang ating session. Adjourn na po tayo.
Now,
Talakayin, revisahin, opinyon, palawakin, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita. Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, elas ang silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng mag-ibig, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bagaw, ay ginatang tulakaw, sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin na karoon niya, kailan pa may di magdidinig, luman ang araw ng warhabit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Sa lahat ng bumubuo ng Millennial Online TV at sa lahat po ng sumusuporta, maraming salamat po. Millennial Online TV is now signing off.